If a service dog ever approaches you without its owner, follow them and do it quickly, because you could potentially save someone else's life.
Here are facts you didn't know that one day could save your life. Part 4. If you're ever stuck in quicksand, lie down. It's like floating on water. The desperation of your weight will make you float. If you're on a plane that crashes into the water, don't inflate your life vest until you swim out of the plane. If you inflate your life jacket before escaping, you're much more likely to get trapped in the plane. A wagging tail does not always mean that a dog is friendly. Don't be silent for extended periods of time if you're hiking in the wilderness. Bears prefer to avoid confrontation and would most likely avoid you if you make your presence known. Sleep with your doors closed. Fires while you sleep can leave your room almost completely untouched if closed. Purple flags at the beach mean dangerous sea life in the area. If you get lost in the woods, stay where you are. The chances of finding your way out on your own are pretty slim, and you're just creating a larger search area for the SAR.
Okay.
Advice that could save your life one day, except the scenarios become increasingly more likely to actually happen. If you're ever driving a car and the acceleration gets stuck and you can't stop it, put your car in neutral and let it slow itself down. You shouldn't try to take out the keys until the car has completely stopped moving, or else you're going to lock the steering wheel. If you ever find yourself face to face with a hostile, aggressive dog, don't try to run away from it, because I can promise you, it's going to catch up. What you have to do is keep eye contact with it while backing up and yelling at it. If it starts attacking you, don't waste time trying to pry its mouth off of you. What you should do instead is grab it by its hind legs and lift that bitch into the air. This is how you should stop dog fights too. If you or somebody you know is choking, but they can still cough or even talk, then you're not choking, at least not yet. The object is only partially obstructed. You should let them just try to cough it out. If you try to intervene by doing the Heimlich maneuver, yeah, you could force it out, or you could make it fully obstructed, which is a much worse situation to have. But you should learn how to do the Heimlich maneuver on somebody else, and on yourself.
You can do it on yourself? What the hell? I always thought you needed another person.
Creepy facts. Heads up, no lungs.
Wow.
Christmas lights once were used as a killing method.
Really?
Left-handed people die earlier than right-handed people do.
Neil deGrasse Tyson recently did an interview where he said if the Earth was small, it would be smooth. But what about the giant holes or the mountains? The Earth has a diameter of 7,917 miles. Now think about this. The highest point of Earth, which is Mount Everest, is just over 29,000 feet, or 5.5 miles. The lowest point of Earth, which is Challenger Deep, is almost 7 miles. That means the distance of the highest point of Earth and the lowest point of Earth is barely over 12 miles. That's not even half the distance across Los Angeles. So yeah, it's true. If you were able to hold the Earth in the palm of your hand, it would be smoother than a cue ball.
Interesting facts. Okay.
Did you guys know that O.J. Simpson confessed to the murders? As many of you may know, O.J. was a famous football player and entertainer in the 70s and 80s. When O.J. was 30 years old, he met 18-year-old Nicole Brown, who was a waitress at a bar, and in 1985, they got married. After some time, O.J. and Nicole have 2 kids, and he eventually starts to change, and he starts being super possessive, controlling, and he starts to physically and emotionally abuse Nicole. After years of infidelity and abuse, Nicole decided that she wanted to file for divorce. A year later, Nicole decides to get back with OJ, but then she quickly leaves him again because he continues to be abusive towards her. On June 1994, Nicole and her friend Ron Goldman were found dead in front of her house while her kids were sleeping upstairs. The neighbors that found Nicole and Ron immediately contacted police, and when police arrived to the scene, they contacted OJ, and OJ said he was already in Chicago. Police found so much evidence. They found a bloody glove, they found footprints that matched OJ's, and they also found blood in OJ's home. When police were questioning OJ, his whereabouts were all over the place. So many people that knew OJ did not think that he did this, and they supported him throughout the whole thing. And honestly, it was only because he was famous that he got away with so much. OJ hired the best defense attorney to help him out with this case, including Robert Shapiro and, yes, Robert Kardashian, the Kardashians' father. OJ spent about $50K every day for his attorneys, and apparently he still owes money to Robert Shapiro. The prosecution was so confident that they were going to win this case, but unfortunately in 1995, OJ was not found guilty for Nicole and Ron's murder. Long story short, the defense attorney did a really good job in changing the entire tone of the trial, and instead of talking about the evidence, they were focusing more on the racial aspect. In 2006, OJ agrees to sit down for an interview, and this is when he basically confesses to the whole thing. OJ said the following: "I had no conscious memory of doing it, but obviously I must have because they found a glove." OJ also released a book called If I Did It, and this was just a money grab because he was broke and needed money. 20 years later, Robert Shapiro admits that he knew OJ did it.
Here are some facts that you probably didn't know that
The O.J. Simpson case. Crazy. Ups and downs, man, with the justice system.
one day could save your life. Part 5. The machine that sets the pins at the bowling alley is extremely dangerous. So if you slide into the pins as a joke, there is a very good chance that you will be crushed to death. Most drunk driving deaths occur on Saturday between 1 and 3 a.m. Avoid roads during these times if you can help it. If your hair suddenly stands up on the end, duck and cover. You're about to be struck by lightning. Sleep with your door closed. Unlike your parents, a fire will leave your room almost completely untouched if closed. You can always dial 911 if you have no bars, because in an emergency, your phone will connect to any nearby cell tower as long as it has a battery in it. If you ever wake up in the middle of the night to the smell of gas, do not turn on the light. A spark from a light switch could blow up the entire house.
Damn, okay. I never knew the fact that if you keep the door closed, bro.
Facts about money that will blow your mind. Officials in Tokyo went to visit this man to name him the oldest person in their city at 111 years old. But they did not expect what they were about to find out. They were turned away by his 81-year-old daughter multiple times. She cited a few different reasons, from him being a human vegetable to him becoming a Buddhist monk and practicing extreme discipline. After the welfare officials were denied multiple times, they became a little suspicious and asked the police to investigate. When the police gained access to the house, they discovered the man's mummified body. He was lying in bed, wearing his pajamas, covered by a blanket. This man had been dead for over 30 years. The daughter had collected more than $100,000 in pension payments. The cause of death was never determined because of the state of the man's body after lying in his bed for multiple decades. The daughter was found guilty of fraud, making her pay back the entirety of the pension payments. A welfare official was quoted saying, "His family must have known he was dead for all of these years and acted like nothing happened. It's so eerie." A study following the discovery of this man's remains showed that the police didn't know if more than 200,000 people over the age of 100 were even alive anymore due to poor record keeping.
Have you guys
And
heard of
check.
McDonald's cursed bench in Mexico? The story goes that there's a bench and it has a Ronald McDonald mannequin sitting on it. Now there were two men that went to the club around the area. And you know how after a party or a club you want to go get something to eat. So that's what they did. And they found a McDonald's that was open 24/7. They go in, they get their food, and thinking nothing of it. It's just a regular night. Now this is where it gets scary. Don't judge me. I know I'm a weirdo for doing this, but I love it. So they get their food, they walk out, and they decide to sit on the bench. Just have somewhere to sit while they eat their food. Once they're done, one of the guys gets both of their trash and goes to throw it out in the garbage. While the friend is waiting, he decides to lay on the lap of the Ronald McDonald mannequin on the bench. I got a question before I continue the story. McDonald's or Wendy's, which one do you think is better? Let me know. I want to see who wins. But once the guy laid on the lap, he goes, "Man, I'm tired." That's when the Ronald McDonald statue turned, looked down, and says, "So am I." This guy was so scared he ran off and never went to that McDonald's again. Now, supposedly there's security footage and everything of this. People all around the area have seen the Ronald McDonald statue in the middle of the night, walking around and moving.
5 teams
They
split
went
on
there?
a man after throwing rocks off an overpass. Let's talk about it. That brings me to 32-year-old Kenneth White from Vienna Township, Michigan. He had 4 kids and a fiance. Kenneth, who was a construction worker, was riding passenger seat with his other co-worker who was also a construction worker. They were on their way from a job going on I-75. Unfortunately, there were a group of 5 teens on an overpass playing a game they called Overpassers, where they would drop rocks, and if you hit a car, you would get points from this. Before playing this little game, they had loaded up around 20 pounds of rocks in the bed of their pickup truck. After playing this game for a bit, they would pick up a 6-pound rock, and throw it off the bridge, to which it would fall down on Kenneth as they were driving. The boys would soon leave the scene and go get some fast food. After being hit with the rock, Kenneth would pass, suffering from a fractured skull, facial, and chest injuries. A couple days would pass, and the boys would hear about what had happened to Kenneth, and they would start getting nervous, and as they should, as police would soon catch up with them, and they would be forced to turn themselves in. Kyle Anger, who was the only adult in the situation, would be sentenced to 3 to 20 years, while the other four, Mark Sikelski, Micah Payne, Trevor Gray, and Alexander Miller, would get probation.
Okay, so what's actually going on with these bodies being found in the Chicago River? And is it really a serial killer? So in the last month, several bodies have washed ashore in the Chicago River and in Lake Michigan. And so far, police don't think that the deaths are related. So one obvious explanation could be that the weather's just warming up and bodies that were trapped under layers of ice are now rising to the surface. But that doesn't explain how they got there in the first place. Let's not forget that since 1999, there's been over 50 women who have been killed by what they believe is a serial killer, one that has still never been found. Most of these women were Black, many of them were sex workers, and none of them have been solved. This so-called Chicago Strangler could still be out there. And it's quite possible that as more bodies wash ashore, more answers about this could be found.
I'll be careful on Chicago, okay.
Person to hike the Appalachian Trail. The ozone layer is healing faster than expected and could fully recover in our lifetimes. Helsinki has had 0 car crashes in the last 12 months. They've purposely been lowering speed limits and upgrading infrastructure for pedestrians and cyclists.
This priest tied himself to 1,000 colorful helium balloons and then was found in the ocean months later. On April 20th, 2008, 41-year-old Father Adiller DeCarli wanted to raise money to build a chapel in his hometown, so he chose to tie himself up to 1,000 helium balloons and float over the ocean. He also hoped to break the previous 19-hour record, but unfortunately, things ended tragically. On the morning of April 20th, Father Adiller was fully repaired to take off, and for safety reasons, he put on a helmet, waterproof coveralls, and an aluminum thermal flight suit, as well as a GPS tracker and a radio to communicate with people on the ground. Only a few hours after taking off, despite the radio and GPS tracker, Father Adiller disappeared and could not be located. The last thing that he said through the radio was that he was losing height and was going to land in the ocean. Search and rescue teams were immediately dispatched, and after 2 days, they found the colorful balloons in the sea off Brazil's southeast coast, but Father Adiller was not there. Then, a few months later, a body was found in the ocean, which turned out to be him. It was reported that the priest had reached an altitude of 20,000 feet and then was blown off course by the strong winds, causing his tragic death.
Sounds like Up the movie, you know, when the man tied all the balloons to the house.
Can you tell that there is something wrong with this picture? At first, when I saw this picture, I couldn't really tell what it was about it that felt strange, but I knew something was off. I had to get some of the backstory and some of the context on it to understand what the picture was even from. This was back in 2016 when the Saturn family went missing, including their daughter. We knew what happened to these people, but effectively their home became a crime scene, which is where the photo came from. Before we dive in, a huge thank you to you for listening to Creep Time, the podcast. If you haven't listened, go click the link in my bio and listen on Spotify or Apple. This picture. This was from the initial walkthrough of the home. They typically walk through a home, they'll take photos of every room because it's effectively a crime scene. It's an investigation. But if you look at the central mirror, right towards the back of the reflection, you would see that this person is not alone in this room. It was only discovered after the fact that it appeared to be someone was hiding in the darkness next to the chair. Whoever space this was, police believe they might have been responsible for the disappearance. Because why would they be hiding?
This is Australia's worst female serial killer, or at least she was, until last month when new evidence came to light that proved her innocence all along. In 2003, Catherine Folbig was sentenced to 25 years in prison for murdering her 3 children, 2 girls, Sarah and Laura, and 1 son, Patrick, as well as manslaughter against her other son, Caleb, between the years 1989 and 1999. Here's what happened. All 4 folded children died in their sleep when they're only 19 days old to 18 months old. Her son Caleb was the first folded child to pass, who everyone initially thought died of sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS. But then when her other 2 infant daughters, Sarah and Laura, died suddenly with no explanation, that's when the rumors began to swirl of foul play. Eventually those rumors took an ugly form that Kathleen must have smothered each of her children to death. Her husband divorced her in 2000, believing the rumors to be true. Then a year later in 2001 is when she was officially arrested and convicted in a trial that became a 7-week media circus. The thing was, there was no concrete evidence that Kathleen had smothered any of her children, or was the cause of her children's untimely death in any way. So what led to her ultimate conviction? The jury sealed her fate based on a personal diary entry that her husband turned over to the police. Kathleen writes, quote, "The guilt about them all haunts me," which the prosecution of course used to imply Kathleen's apparent guilt for killing her children. The defense vehemently argued that this was all circumstantial evidence, but the power of the media and public opinion prevailed and the jury found her guilty. For 3 decades, Kathleen has maintained her innocence. Kathleen already served 20 of those 25 years, which was finally released on June 5th, 2023, because it was discovered that all 4 of her children died of natural causes. But how?
That's crazy, bro. So she was innocent all along, man. Those cases always freaking shocking, bro. That everybody was freaking innocent to prove guilty, man. But once the media comes into play, bro, that's a big part. Once that monster starts to roll, bro, it's hard to overcome, man.
This is 18-year-old Hannah Graham, and in 2014, she was abducted and murdered from Charlottesville, Virginia. Hannah was originally from England, and in 2014, she began attending the University of Virginia in the United States. On the night of September 12th, which turned into the morning of September 13th, 2014, Hannah was out at a party. At 1:20 a.m., she texted her friends that she was going to another party but was lost. And that was the last time they heard from her. Hannah was seen on surveillance footage that night at a place called Tempo Restaurant. According to surveillance footage and witnesses, that night Hannah was with 32-year-old Jesse Leroy, or LJ Matthew. Witnesses said that Matthew was seen at the restaurant with Hannah and that Hannah looked drunk and that he had his arm around her. The last witness to see Hannah alive said that she was with a man who did not look friendly. The witness saw Hannah standing by a vehicle that was later identified as Matthew's vehicle, saying, "I'm not getting in the car with you." But that was the last time she was seen. Searches around the area began after Hannah was reported missing, but no sign of her was found. But then on October 18th, 2014, searchers with the Chesterfield County Sheriff's Office found human remains. This was found at an abandoned property in Charlottesville. A few days later, the remains were confirmed to be those of Hannah Graham. Her manner of death was revealed to be homicide, but they did not release her cause of death. The suspect in Hannah Graham's disappearance and murder was that man that she was with that night, 32-year-old Jesse Leroy Matthew Jr. Before Hannah's body was found, police searched his car and apartment but did not share his name. They identified him as a person of interest and eventually took items of clothing from his apartment, but again did not share the importance of those. On September 21st, they issued an arrest warrant for Matthew on charges of reckless driving. And then 2 days later, on September 23rd, he was charged with abduction. He was arrested on September 24th in a sparsely populated part of Galveston County, Texas. And then on September 29th, it was reported that evidence taken from Matthew matched evidence from a 2009 murder. This is Morgan Dana Harrington, and she was murdered in 2009. And apparently, Matthew was seen with her the night she disappeared. Hannah Graham's remains were found about 5 miles from where Morgan's remains were found. In February 2015, Matthew was indicted on first-degree murder charges related to Hannah. And then in March 2016, he pled guilty to capital murder. He also pled guilty to Morgan Harrington's murder.
Haunting cage, man.
They hid their daughter's body in their family restaurant. On January 2017, 5-year-old Ashley Zhao was beaten to death by her mother, 30-year-old Ming Ming. Ming Ming then reported Ashley missing and said that she went to take a nap in the family restaurant's back room, and when she came to check up on her that night, she was gone. But after police investigated, they found that no one saw Ashley leave the restaurant. The next day, police found Ashley's body lifeless in the family restaurant's back room. After interviewing Ashley's parents, Ming Ming admitted to hitting her daughter repeatedly in the head, and then she passed away. Apparently, she did this because Ashley was having accidents. After the beating, Ashley's father noticed that she was gasping for air and green fluid was coming out of her mouth, and then she stopped breathing. Ming Ming then ordered her husband to hide their daughter's body in the backroom restaurant. The couple basically carried on with the restaurant's hours of operation while their daughter laid lifeless in the back room. Ashley's father pleaded guilty and received 12 years in prison, and Ming Ming was sentenced to 22 years in prison.
Here's 5 things.
Ming Ming sounded like she was possessed by the damn devil. That's something. That's like demonic behavior right there, bro. And y'all just moving on with the rest of your day acting like nothing happened. Just going back to just selling food at y'all restaurant. You gotta keep a close eye out, Seekers, man.
Things our parents lied to us about. Cracking your knuckles will give you arthritis. This isn't true. The noise is caused by negative pressure temporarily pulling nitrogen gas into the joint. If you swallow gum, it will stay in your stomach for 7 years. This is not true. It will be excreted within a few days. Sitting too close to the TV will hurt your eyes. This is actually a very popular misconception. A long-term extensive study has shown that myopia in children has nothing to do with this. If you keep going cross-eyed, you'll get stuck like that forever. This is simply false. Your hair will grow faster the more often you cut it. This isn't true. There are a number of factors affecting it, such as age, hormones, and even the time of year.
Here are 3 terrifying animals that you're glad are extinct. Number 1, the Megalodon shark. This animal grew up to 60 feet long, and one tooth could be the size of a human. Megalodons were meat-eating creatures that could literally kill anything. Number 2, the Capra zoochus. This animal is a crocodile T-Rex hybrid. It has long legs and is extremely fast. I can guarantee that you won't be able to outrun this guy. Number 3, the Titanoboa. This snake weighed about 2,000 pounds and grew up to 40 feet long. This snake would kill their prey with constriction, which means they would suffocate them to death.
This doesn't look like something out of Anaconda, bro. Like that one Ice Cube fought at the end. Glad those gone, man. I don't do snake seekers. I just can't do that. That's an edit. Spot them out.
Here's what would happen to you if you just stopped eating. In the first 6 hours, everything will be normal as your body breaks down food to provide energy for your brain. But after 6 hours, all that energy is used up. So you begin to starve, entering a state called ketosis, which is when your body uses excess fat to produce energy. After 72 hours, your body will begin breaking down muscle for energy, essentially eating itself. And after 1 to 2 weeks, you're more likely to die from the common cold than starvation.
Morbid Facts, Part 467. In 2013, double amputee and 4-time Paralympic gold medalist Oscar Pistorius shot his girlfriend 3 times through a locked bathroom door, claiming he mistook her for an intruder. During his murder trial, Pistorius removed his prosthetics and hobbled on his stumps, while apparently attempting to garner sympathy and a more lenient sentence. But the judge wasn't buying it and sentenced the athlete to 15 years in prison for murder. This is the skeleton of a female vampire pinned to the ground with a sickle across her throat to prevent her from returning from the dead. It was found during an archaeological dig at a 17th century cemetery in Poland. In the late 1800s, there is an urban legend about a demonic figure roaming around the Arizona deserts that killed multiple people. It turned out to be a feral camel with the decaying corpse of a male soldier strapped to its back. Likely the tragic result of Jefferson Davis's attempt to create a camel division in the U.S. Army.
The camel was eaten?
Here's why bees die after stinging you. When a bee stings you, it buries its barbed stinger deep into your skin. Then it releases a dose of venom filled with protein-rich substances that makes the sting painful. The venom also affects your skin cells and can also affect your immune system. But all of this comes at a huge cost to the bee. After inserting their barbed stinger into a person, they are unable to pull it out. The only way they can free themselves from the stinger is to rip their bodies apart, leaving the stinger behind. Unfortunately, the stinger also contains parts of the bee's muscles, nerves, and digestive tract. And without these vital body parts, the bees cannot survive and suffer a gory death.
So when that bee hits you like this, it's it, bro. It got its one good hit in, and then it's just like, hey, that's all I got about, bro. Wow. And the more you learn about these animals, these insects, truly changes the way you think, man. If you told me that as a kid, I wouldn't believe it.
This woman was married to a TikTok serial killer for 7 years, but now she's turning back to TikTok for help. You see, this is her ex, Kareem Salim. But before he became known as the New Cairo Butcher, he was a TikToker with over 600,000 followers teaching people American slang. But then, in May this year, he was arrested for the murder of multiple women in Egypt, and a few months later was found guilty and sentenced to death. This case was huge in Arab media due to how shocking the crimes were. Investigators found that he had soundproofed his apartment so that when he tortured his victims, no one would hear them scream. It was so gruesome that when videos which he would record himself were played in court, his entire defense team of 5 lawyers immediately withdrew from the case and apologized to the judge for ever representing him. And I'm skimming over this, but it's like Ray William Johnson next video kinda bad. Anyway, his ex-wife, who had a child with Kareem but had been separated for the past 3 years, claimed that she had to go into hiding and flee to the UK because he tried to kill her and her sister multiple times. But then just yesterday in a TikTok, she said that Kareem had taken her son and he's now with Kareem's mother either in Egypt or America. So she's desperately trying to raise awareness so she can find him and be reunited. And if you want more details, I've tagged her profile below.
Man, she was ready to a TikTok. Freaking sick. Bro, I'm telling you, man, these social medias, bro, personalities, you never know what's behind them. How did he have a following that big and he was getting away with it for that long? Makes you look at the world differently.
Morbid Facts, Part 466. During an SAS training exercise in 1996, 21-year-old Bear Grylls broke his back after falling 16,000 feet when his parachute failed to open. His surgeon wasn't sure if Grylls would ever walk again, but the survival expert climbed Mount Everest just 18 months later, becoming the youngest Brit to ever do it. Here's a photo of 13-year-old Barbara Kent and her fellow campers playing in a New Mexico river, just hours before the first atomic bomb was tested 40 miles away from them. Over the next few days, the area was covered in fallout flakes that the campers thought was snow, only it was hot instead of cold. The US government had selected the site for its supposed isolation, but in reality, thousands of people were within a 40-mile radius and weren't evacuated nor warned before the test. Despite being diagnosed with 4 different types of cancers throughout her life, Barbara was the only girl in the above photo who lived past the age of 30, somehow making it to 83.
I never knew that fact about New Mexico. They didn't even evacuate.
You guys remember when this man attacked the judge after she gave him a sentencing that he wasn't too happy with? So before this happened, he was sentenced to 19 months to 4 years in prison. But after attacking the judge, he was just sentenced to 26 to 65 years in prison. But this video made me feel so uneasy because look at him. He looks like he wants to jump over there and attack the prosecutor. Then he explains himself and says that on that day when he attacked the judge, he just saw red.
Like, this is not fair. All I see was red, and all I heard her say, oh, this, she said, I finally watched the whole video. I was standing here in the courtroom with all of you guys.
These are the best.
The question to myself, how did he have pops that high that he didn't leapt that high and even got to the judge? That shouldn't have been possible. But look what happened, man. He said he saw red, and now he got 65 to 25 years instead of that large sentence before, man. Gotta think before you act, Seekers.
Best up on the shelf
pranks. These elves are ironing out the wrinkles in the chips. This elf is disguising the Brussels sprouts as chocolates. And this elf is doing target practice with a bottle of ketchup. At least his aim is kinda good. And this elf opened up his own car wash. And this elf managed to sneak his way up to the cookie jar. And this elf has a poop museum. But that's exactly what I expected the unicorn poop to look like. Make sure you don't have any of this freshly squeezed juice, because I don't think it's juice. They wrapped up the entire bathroom. How are you supposed to use that? And these elves are fishing in the sink. These elves know how to party. They're bungee jumping.
He was left in a tanning bed for 3 days until his body was discovered. On November 8th of this year, 39-year-old Derek Sink visited a Planet Fitness to sign up for a membership. He was accompanied by his girlfriend Heather and her daughter, but while he was signing up, they left to a nearby store. When they returned, Derek was gone. They noticed that Derek's car was still in the parking lot, but they believed that maybe he had left the gym. However, as the hours started to pass by with no sign of him, they started to get concerned. Derek's family finally reported him missing on November 10th. The next morning, Derek's probation officer had visited the gym, which was his last known location. He made a shocking discovery when they found his body inside of a tanning bed, and it was believed that he was there for 3 days. This discovery was made when a worker noticed a bad odor coming from the tanning area. As the investigation began, Derek was wearing an ankle monitor, and it revealed that he had never left the gym. Family members revealed that Derek struggled with addiction, and once his body was found, they found a needle in the tanning room with him. My biggest question is how the workers did not notice that his body was there for 3 days in that tanning bed. It really does not make sense.
Staying away from Planet Fitness, bro. They can't even check on if you can tan them in 3 days. What else are they doing to that equipment, man, that they not checking out properly? 3 days, come on now. Staying out of that tanning room. That's a no for me.
These are the worst Christmas gifts of all time. Up first, we have this savage grandma. She sent her daughter a gift card, but it said, maybe next year you'll make us proud. Ouch. And here's another grandma who put almost no effort into the gift. She sent her granddaughter a used notebook with scribbles inside. Next, this guy asked his dad for a GPS for the new car he bought that year. But instead, his dad gifted him a map. And this girl received a creepy porcelain doll from her grandma. And she's been terrified of it ever since and believes it's haunted. Which I think it is.
Do you guys remember the 2 girls who recorded their murder before their bodies were found near a wooded area?
Trying to identify the suspect in this photo and this voice.
On February 2017, 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German were walking along Delphi Historic Trails, Indiana, when they snapped these photos right before they went missing that evening. Police suspected that the man in this photo was involved in their disappearance and murder, but they didn't know who this man was. The girls' bodies were found the next day very close to where they took those photos. And police received multiple tips that the man in the recording and photo on Liberty's phone was 50-year-old Richard Allen. Richard was arrested and charged, but he pleaded not guilty and kept his innocence. But recently, on April 3rd of this year, Richard called his wife Kathy and confessed to murdering both Abby and Liberty. Investigators believe that Richard forced the girls down a hill and took their life with a .40 caliber. Let's talk about what happened to Jacob
Finally admitted to it.
His killer is still out there. Jacob was born on July 1st, 1986 to his mother Brenda and to his father Gene in Texas. He had an older brother named Eric, and Eric was so excited about having a new baby brother. This is something that he really wanted for a long time, and the day that Jacob was born was just like the best day ever for everyone. Now their father Gene wasn't really in the picture. He was actually having an emotional affair with another woman, and when Brenda found out about that, she decided to leave him. She grabbed the 2 kids, she packed everything up, and they all moved to Socorro, New Mexico. Now, the reason they moved there is because that's where Brenda's family was, so she figured that they would be able to help watch the children while she went to work and, help provide for the family. Now, during this time, Brenda started to grow closer to an old family friend. Now, Eric asked that we do not use this man's name, so for the sake of the video, I'm just going to refer to him as Nick. Nick and Brenda pretty much grew up together. His sister actually married Brenda's brother, and his aunt was Eric's godmother. So in a way, they all had some type of connection, and when Nick entered their life, Eric was very happy about this. Nick was very kind to him. He would watch movies with Eric, he would take care of baby Jacob, and Eric just felt like this was the father figure that he had been looking for. He was just very charismatic, and in December of 1986, Brenda and Nick decided to move in together with the 2 children.
Unfortunately, soon after Nick entered their lives, baby Jacob started to receive unexplained injuries. The first incident that happened is when Brenda noticed that Jacob had a skinned ear. So she took him to the doctor, and as they were trying to figure out what happened, Nick came over to Brenda and said that Eric was responsible for this injury. Said that Eric had picked up Jacob from his crib and then dropped him to the floor. That the reason he had done this is because Eric was jealous of his new baby brother. So Brenda goes over to Eric, she asked him about this, and she was able to get Eric to admit that yes, he did this. Now keep in mind that at this time, Jacob is only 6 to 7 months old, and Eric is 6 years old. So for a 6-year-old to reach over to a crib, pick up a baby, and then drop him to the ground, it just kind of seemed odd. But this is what Nick was telling Brenda. He was telling her that he had seen Eric be jealous before, and that this wasn't the first time that Eric had injured baby Jacob. The second injury occurred 2 to 3 weeks later. This is when the kid's grandmother, Merlinda, was taking care of baby Jacob and noticed a lump on his head. Took him to the doctor, and they told her that this injury came from a blow to the head and that Jacob had a hematoma, and that his injury needed to be drained and lanced immediately. This is a huge injury. This isn't something that's caused by just like playing around or getting a thump on the head. Once again, Nick blamed Eric for this injury, and he told Brenda that he saw Eric kick baby Jacob in the head. Eric says that he has no memory of actually kicking baby Jacob, but he just feels like that would not be possible. He was only 6 years old, so how could a kick from a 6-year-old cause such a big injury? Again, no one saw Eric kick baby Jacob. The only person that saw this was Nick. And at this point, he had been blaming Eric for all of these unexplained injuries that baby Jacob had. After all of this happened, Brenda decided to send Eric to go live in California with his father. However, even with Eric out of the picture, the injuries to baby Jacob did not stop. Okay, more in part 2.
Things you've never seen before. NASCAR cars can actually go this fast. Here's a video x-ray of a dog devouring its food. And this is what the inside of a violin looks like. It looks like a 1-bedroom apartment in New York. Believe it or not, but right now you're looking at 1 million colors. In this picture, the color of each pixel is slightly different. This picture hasn't been photoshopped in any way. It's actually just the darkest material in the world. Before I tell you what it's called, I just found a way to make a bunch of new friends by live streaming with 0 requirements. So if you want to try live streaming, just press right here. Known as Vanna Black, this substance absorbs nearly all the light that strikes it. And when it's painted on a 3D object, it makes it look completely fake because of how dark it is.
Let's talk about the disappearance of 6-year-old Katie Jacobs and how this doll and a necklace helped solve her case. Katie had gone to the Potomac Mills Mall in Virginia with her family. At one point, she had gone off with her Aunt Susan and her cousin Jeremy to go play in the arcade. However, her Aunt Susan said that she needed to go engrave a lighter for her husband because his birthday was just around the corner, so she left Katie and Jeremy alone. Jeremy says that he was playing a video game while Katie was standing next to him and that she actually wanted to leave to go get some ice cream. So he finished up his game, and when he looked back to where Katie was standing, she was gone. He went to go tell his parents, and his mom called the police and reported her niece as missing. The police and the FBI arrived at the scene and immediately put the mall on lockdown. They began handing out flyers with Katie's face on them and were asking the crowd if anyone had seen her. However, no one in the mall had seen Katie. Now, a week earlier, a young girl named Jessica Davis had been abducted from a mall and found dead 3 days later. The FBI was worried that this might be the same offender. So they began to look through the surveillance footage at the mall to see if they could retrace Katie's last steps. They spot her leaving the arcade, and you can see her looking over at someone that's standing next to her, possibly walking alongside her, but they can't make out who this person is. And 7 seconds later, Katie disappears. There's no other footage of Katie leaving the mall, so they believe that she and her abductor are still inside. A canine dog tracks Katie's scent and leads police to a trash can. Inside the trash can, they found Katie's necklace. The clasp was broken, and it appeared as if someone had ripped this necklace from Katie's neck. With this information, the FBI no longer believes that Katie's abduction is related to Jessica Davis. This seems personal, and whoever ripped the necklace from Katie's neck did it with rage. Since they now believe that this is a family abduction, FBI agent Reed and Morgan head over to Katie's house to see if they can find any clues. There, they find this doll in Katie's room. They believe that this doll represents how Katie feels. She feels dirty and ugly. And Agent Reed and Morgan believe they know why. So back at the mall, FBI agents ask Katie's mom how she got this necklace. And she says that Katie just found it at school one day. Now, this necklace was very expensive, so there's no way that Katie just randomly found this at school. So why did she lie to her mom about it? This is when the FBI begins to get suspicious of Katie's family, so they interrogate Katie's Aunt Susan and her Uncle Richard separately. During his interrogation, Uncle Richard actually reveals that he hasn't smoked in over a month. Why did his wife Susan say that she left Katie and Jeremy alone to go engrave a lighter for him, if he hadn't even smoked in over a month? The FBI confronts Susan with this. She breaks down. She reveals that her husband Richard has been abusing Katie and that he was the one that gave her the necklace to keep quiet. Susan knew about the abuse, and instead of helping her niece, she decided to abduct Katie and get rid of her. She figured that if Katie was gone, then her husband would go back to loving her. Ends up telling the police where she hid Katie, and thankfully she was found alive and reunited with her family. Both Richard and Susan were arrested. Thankfully, this is a fictional story from the show Criminal Minds. If you want to watch the FBI's Behavior Analysis Unit catch more bad guys and solve more cases, you can watch Criminal Minds on Hulu.
Animal Attacks Part 7, the dude who was attacked by a swarm of raging bees. 23-year-old Alex Bechler and a friend were on a hike in Usuri Mountain Park in Arizona when suddenly, without provoke, a swarm of bees suddenly attacked them. The aggressive swarm of bees stung Alex more than 1,000 times. His friend was able to flee and hide in a nearby bathroom. Several people tried to help Alex as he lay on the ground swarmed with these bees, but every time the bees would drive the people away. A sheriff finally used a UTV to get close enough to him, and still covered in bees, he grabbed Alex and fled with the bees pursuing. Once at the hospital, Alex was pronounced dead.
Man.
Creepy videos that you shouldn't watch tonight, but you're going to anyway, part 10. I just held up 5, what the fuck. And for my dark web lovers, you will love this video, because this one actually surfaced on the dark web. Also, I might be going on a TV show. I got contacted by a company to make a TV show on Discovery Channel, pretty much about dark web and creepy videos, so thank you guys. So make sure to show some love so we can get him to see it. I just like my lights out. Alright, the video has since been deleted, but people actually downloaded it, so I'm just on YouTube. So this is in binary code. If anybody wants to decode that, please let me know. This video is pretty scary, so let's watch. What the fuck?
What's he wearing?
Oh, hell no. Here's the full binary code, so just save the video. So if you guys need help sleeping at night, click the link in my bio. And once you click the link, click on Get a Peaceful Sleep, and it's an app, download it, and you will get the most peaceful sleep of your life.
I don't know what the hell.
Scary facts that will blow your mind. No. Part 2. The Hoia Baciu Forest is considered the most haunted forest in all of Romania. Hundreds of people have gone missing within these woods, among other things like screams, laughter, babies crying, people being attacked by unseen paranormal forces, strange balls of light, UFOs, and in the very center of the forest lies a clearing where no plant life will grow. It is believed that this spot is a portal to another dimension. What do you think? Like and follow for more.
They need to freaking shut down that whole forest, man. You hear them screaming laughter, bro. That whole spot, where that little circus spot where it's just like nothing else is going on. I feel like that's just like a portal, man, with some bad energy around there. Close it down.
Interesting people you've never heard of. This fisherman survived 6 hours in freezing water after his ship sank. He then walked near lava fields for 3 hours barefoot, and when he returned to safety, there were no signs of hypothermia, even though he was just wearing a shirt and jeans. Frank Hart was the first black athlete on a sports card back in 1880. This environmental activist climbed an over 1,000-year-old tree and didn't come back down for over 2 years. This farm boy from Idaho came up with the idea for an electronic television while he was plowing a field at 14 years old. This Italian banker over a 7-year period diverted over €1 million to his poorer clients from the wealthier clients so that they could qualify for loans. He made no profit and avoided jail in 2018 due to a plea bargain. This physician proved that yellow fever could be transmitted through a mosquito bite and unfortunately passed away from that mosquito bite just 17 days later.
He was dedicated to show the truth, man. He's a seeker of the truth for real.
This is known as the doll that aged. The doll used to look like this and was played with by a couple of kids, but then they started to grow up, so the doll was just locked away in the attic for like 14 years. So then as the parents went up to the attic to like clean it out, they were shocked to find the doll look like this.
How the hell was the doll aging?
Disturbing things Disneyland doesn't want you to know. A few years ago in Disney World, Florida, a little boy was snatched by a crocodile, and his remains were found a few hours later in a lake next to the park. Apparently the kid was just next to the water when the crocodile ate him up. Next, did you know that Disneyland has only closed 3 times throughout history? They were when JFK was shot, after a massive earthquake in 1994, and on September 11th, 2001. So let's just say they count on keeping their parks open for as long as possible. And finally, some rumors say that the skulls on the Pirate of the Caribbean ride are actually real human skulls. And if that's real, that is pretty messed up.
Fun fact, never been in Disney World ever.
Did you guys hear about the 34-year-old teacher that was essaying a 13-year-old student, and it turns out that they possibly have a 5-year-old child together? I'm at the point where this stuff doesn't even surprise me anymore because it's been happening so often lately. This woman's name is Laura Karen, and she was a 5th grade teacher in Middle Township Elementary School in New Jersey. So this whole thing started when Laura became the victim's teacher in the 5th grade. Laura and the victim's mother became friends, got to know each other, and she offered to take care of her kids. The victim, who was 11 years old at the time, was staying at Laura's house with his siblings regularly. Now, the kids went from going to Laura's house every day to then actually staying there permanently. It was said the kids did not go home anymore, and they basically lived in Laura's house from 2016 to 2020. During that time, the 11-year-old was being essayed by Laura, and allegedly they have a child together. Then fast forward a few years later, the victim's father saw a photo of Laura's child on Facebook, and he said, "This kid looks a lot like my son." He called police and an investigation began, and Laura was arrested, but they're still waiting on the DNA results. Now, when the siblings were asked if they saw anything weird going on in the house, they said that Laura and their brother slept in her bed every single night. And not only that, but apparently they also showered together, and they caught Laura essaying him one night. The siblings also said that when this baby was born, they knew that this was their brother's child, but they were told not to say anything because then Laura would get in trouble. And you guys won't believe this, but Laura was just released from jail until her next court date. This should be a wake-up call to people who leave their kids with literally just anyone. A lot of people believe that just because someone's a teacher, you can fully trust them, but what you may not know is that a lot of predators get positions that revolve around children just so that it's easier to get away with this kind of stuff.
Interesting people you've never
Can't
heard
trust
of.
anybody.
This dude ran out of gas in rural Maine in 1986 and then spent the next 27 years living isolated in the woods. This man was killed on a street in Brooklyn just before midnight on 9/11/2001, making him the sole victim of murders on that day because New York does not count the 9/11 attacks in its crime statistics, and his murder remains unsolved. This convicted Japanese war criminal recreated his prison cell at home because he believed that his 10-year sentence was too short, and he stayed there till he passed away. This professional swimmer retired due to lung complications after saving 20 people from debris-filled waters. Japan welcomed their first female fighter pilot in 2018 after she was inspired by Top Gun as a child. This basketball player slammed his head into a concrete post after he was frustrated getting his 5th foul and ultimately was never able to walk again.
Disturbing facts that will ruin your day. Firstly, you know these vacuum toilets that are most commonly used on planes and cruise ships? Well, there have been many reports of them sucking the rectum out of people when they flush. Next, this is just disappointing. 1 in 4 Americans actually believe that the sun rotates around the earth. Now, studies show that the average person will wait 5 months of their lifetime for red lights to turn green. You know when you're watching a movie or TV show and you hear these laugh tracks in the background? Well, most of them were recorded in the 50s, so you're hearing dead people laugh. This will ruin your childhood. The Red Power Ranger, Ricardo Medina, pleaded guilty to killing his roommate with a sword. Finally, you are now closer to death than you were when you started this video.
You want a Power Rangers for us, man. Who watched that when you was a kid, bro? Man, what's up with these actors, bro? It's like, once they lose their gig, it's over.
Disney princesses' gloves. Take a look at all the Disney princesses. Some are wearing gloves, some aren't. You'll notice that all the ones who aren't wearing gloves are commoners who married into royalty. Boo's real name in Monsters, Inc. is Mary. And this is the same as the young girl who voices Boo. Her name is Mary Gibbs. And her name is only visible when she's in their apartment and they're making drawings and her name is on the paper. Bambi only uses 72 unique words throughout the entire film. And in total, there are only about 900 words spoken throughout the entire thing as well. To get Robin Williams to play the genie in Aladdin, animators created a sequence of the genie performing Robin Williams stand-up routines. And this was one of the ways they pulled in Robin Williams for this part. Simba literally means lion. In Swahili, Simba directly translates to lion.
I never do that. What the hell? So his name is his name.
Only kids can hear this sound. So scientists discovered a sound they believe only kids can hear. The name of the sound is mosquito tone and it is at a frequency of 17 kilohertz. This is the sound. Let me know if you can hear it.
In 3, 2, 1.
So did you hear the sound? Mothmore?
Did Doja Cat sell her soul and now she's in the Illuminati? She recently celebrated her 27th birthday with the Illuminati themed party, and they say when you sell your soul, like the devil takes something from you. Watch this clip, it's weird. That clip is not from her birthday party, but basically she's making all these weird faces. We know her music is a little symbolic, but just watch this other clip of her looking like she's glitching, she's glaring off into space, it's weird.
Yo, check out Doja Cat. Tell me she on timeout. Looks like she just... Yo, what happened to her?
She glitched.
Yo, she glitched.
Celebrities are kind of weird, like we've seen Cardi B space out in the middle of interviews, but when you're winning an award, that seems like a time when you shouldn't be like spacey. What do you guys think about this? Do you think she sold her soul?
Man, people in the industry, you know, some like I said, her music is like symbolic, so, but to say that she had a birthday party and that was the theme, I don't know if that's just like trying to be hidden in plain sight, or she's just trying to, you know, like, try to, you know, reflect that narrative back and just trying to, you know, be like, oh, it's just a party. It's everywhere, man.
Times when jokes backfired big time. In 2006, the High-End Water Fiji ran an ad campaign jokingly saying the label says Fiji because it's not bottled in Cleveland. Well, the city of Cleveland, Ohio saw this and were offended because what did they ever do to deserve this? So rightfully, the city of Cleveland tested their tap water and found that it was actually cleaner and tastier than Fiji water. Next, several years ago, a California man jokingly got a personalized license plate that read no, and thought it would trick the database so whenever he got a ticket, it would register as no, meaning nothing. Well, the problem with that is, anytime there was an error on anyone else's license plate, they assigned it to him. He got $12,000 in fines.
Try to trick the system, ain't work.
This post made me think, what animal am I glad that I don't have to deal with? I'm cool with most animals, but I think I draw the line at bears, especially grizzly bears. And so the idea of the giant, short-faced bear is something I definitely find frightening. These were like grizzly bears, but much bigger. These were found in the Americas and went extinct towards the end of the last ice age. So around 12,000 years ago. I don't know what it is about bears, but there's something about them that freaks me out more than any other animal. I'm not really sure why. Maybe one of my ancestors got chomped. As always, come talk on my Discord. You could even suggest content. Though the stickers are getting a little questionable. Info on my Discord in pinned.
Which animals are y'all glad that went extinct? Maybe the dinos for me. Could you guys imagine dinosaurs roaming the earth right now? Especially with the T-Rex. Nah.
Has anybody ever told you the terrifying true story of Snow White? I'm sure by now we all know the Disney version, but the Brothers Grimm version, which came before the Disney version, is actually much darker. In this version, the evil queen orders the huntsman to take Snow White into the woods, kill her, and bring back her liver and lungs for the queen to eat. Which is obviously very disturbing, but there's actually more to the story. Later in the story, the prince and Snow White are getting married, and they invite all the royalty in the land. The evil queen shows up, unknowing it was her stepdaughter's wedding. When she arrives, she's forced to step into burning hot iron shoes brought from the fireplace, and then she has to dance until she dies. And that's her punishment for trying to go after Snow White. I don't really feel bad for her, but gosh, I mean, this version is terrifying.
What's something small that completely changed the course of history? I'll go first. If not for a wobbly chair, we probably wouldn't have Social Security today. Giuseppe Zangaro was an Italian immigrant who came to America in the 1920s for a better life. But he had a condition with his gallbladder that caused him immense pain and made him often unable to work. At the height of the Great Depression, there is a political rally near where Giuseppe lives in Miami. Giuseppe is a desperate man, and he was also a marksman in the Italian army. However, he was also only 5 feet tall, so he needs to stand on a wobbly metal chair in order to see over the crowd and get a good aim at President-elect Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Giuseppe fires 5 shots, but because the chair is wobbly, he hits the mayor of Miami instead of FDR. This was FDR's vice president at the time, John Nance Carter, a conservative Democrat from Texas who opposed New Deal policies like Social Security. And if it weren't for a wobbly chair, he would have been president instead of FDR.
Whoa. Changed the course of history.
What is the
She needs
craziest thing
justice.
someone's confessed to on their deathbed? Well, a deathbed confession made this year solved a 20-year-old cold case. And this is coming from the Heart Starts Pounding podcast episode that's all about cold cases that were solved this year. So this year in West Virginia, a man named Larry Webb was dying. And before he died, he called a nurse over and said he needed to get it off his chest that he killed a woman and her daughter back in 2000. It turns out that back then, a woman named Susan Carter and her 10-year-old daughter Alex were living with Larry while Susan was in a custody battle with Alex's father. And one day they just disappeared, but because they were together when they disappeared, police assumed that Susan just ran away with her daughter. But Larry confirmed that that's not what happened. The story he gave on his deathbed is that one day he came home to see that Susan was stealing money from him, and so he shot her. And then panicking, he wanted to get rid of all the witnesses, and that included Alex, her daughter. And to me, the craziest thing in all of this is that Larry had really bad dementia, so when he gave this confession, they weren't really convinced that it was true. But the day after he died, both of their remains were found in his backyard. If you want to hear more on that story and other cold cases that were solved this year, check out the Cold Cases That Were Solved This Year episode of the Heart Starts Pounding podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
When it's the end, man. When the end is near, people, that's when they want to tell the truth, I guess, you know. Get it off their chest. I'm burdened.
The world's most dangerous conspiracy theories. This picture represents conspiracy theories from the most well-known to the darkest. Some of these theories say once you learn the truth, there's no return. For this series, we're going to be picking some from each category until we reach Tier 10, the point of no return. Tier 10 is so scary that some people are saying that I will die before I even reach Tier 10. Okay, Tier 1. Today we're going to be talking about cryptozoology. Cryptozoology is defined as the search for animals whose existence is disputed. For example, Bigfoot, Chupacabra, and the Loch Ness Monster. For this one, I'm going to talk about the Ningen. The Ningen is based in Japan, and it's an aquatic humanoid creature that can be larger than a whale but also mutate into a human. I know what you're thinking, no way this is real. I thought the same thing until I saw this. In 2007, a company published a magazine with Ningens on the cover. The magazines were completely destroyed with no trace, but I found the PDF file of what it looked like. It gets even weirder. Early February 2013, a huge mysterious object washes ashore that makes locals freak out. 3 days later, the website was taken down without a trace. Doing some more research, I found out that people from Japan created a forum page talking about all of the government corruption that was happening. They then began to speak on the Ningen, and somebody says that he was on the research ship when they captured it on camera, and then government officials raided the boat and even supposedly killing some of the people. 3 days later, the forum page was taken down without a trace, but I found it once again, and take a look at one of the videos somebody posted. So what do you think? Is this Ningen just some myth, or is the government hiding something much darker? This was only Tier 1. Make sure to follow to see Tier 2 because we have a lot more to cover.
Did you know
some truth to that?
Forks were used in ancient China, which were then replaced by chopsticks. It has rained more in Los Angeles this year than in Seattle. Your red blood cells only live about 120 days. Coke had 3 different opportunities 100 years ago to buy Pepsi and refused every single time. Christmas lights used to be a status symbol because they would often be rented instead of bought because they were so expensive. This river in the Amazon has boiling water. Australia has the highest skin cancer rate in the world. Angel Falls in Venezuela is the highest uninterrupted waterfall in the world. The Eiffel Tower can be taller by about 15 centimeters in the summer due to the increased temperatures expanding the metal. It only took Lady Gaga 10 minutes each to write Poker Face, Born This Way, and Just Dance. The Cubs 2016 World Series ring includes an engraving of the Billy Goat that was refused entry in the 1945 World Series, which caused the owner to lay a curse on the team.
One of my favorite Saw traditions is back. For those who don't know, for every Saw movie that comes out, they have a Saw blood drive. It's a partnership with the Red Cross. They did it for the very first Saw movie as a way to promote the film. If you come and give us some blood, we give you free tickets to see the movie. But the original filmmakers saw how successful this was. They saw how many people came out to donate blood, and they decided they wanted to do it again, but just to mostly help people than anything. And they did this for the Saw movies 1 through 8. And by the time Saw 8, aka Jigsaw, finished its promotional campaign, over 360,000 total lives have been saved because of the Saw franchise. I did make a video talking about this back in 2021. Wow, the difference a few years makes. They had to skip over the blood drive for Spiral, I'm assuming because of COVID-related reasons, but now it's back for Saw X, and the posters look so good. They're also advertising all blood types are accepted from all people.
Alright, y'all check this out. Okay, so everybody kept asking, test all the foods, so that's exactly what I'm doing.
Alright.
All the foods that I love are tainted, y'all. I'm not even joking. This right here makes me so mad. Like, we just got these. And y'all can plainly see there's nothing white on top of this oatmeal cream pie.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. So y'all check this out. Look at that. What in the hell is going on? Y'all, I don't care what anybody says in the comments. That's not normal. I don't care. That's not normal.
It's contaminated.
I mean, it's only certain parts of it. Even the cream on the inside, you can't see it, it's smashed, but it don't even glow, and it's white. So, y'all let me know what y'all think about that. It's blown my mind. Like, when I'm done doing these series, I'm not going to be able to eat nothing.
Me either. I'll have to stay on this.
Insane, y'all. Like, this makes me so mad. This is approved by the FDA. Millions of people eat these. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody in the South eats oatmeal cream pies pretty much. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this. I'm going to start doing restaurant foods. And then we'll go from there. I mean, what can you do? I wanted to share that with y'all. Here y'all go. Oatmeal cream pie under a black light. That's crazy.
Have you seen the video of the alien walking the streets of Atlanta? Don't know what I'm talking about? Take a look at this.
Hey, Space Guy, man. Hey, right, hey, can you tattoo Alien Flesh? Yeah, I guess, right? Yeah, but I'm trying to get 2 teardrops, but okay, dog. I took out the whole solar system, but hell, you come out, well. You know I need a teardrop big time, well. What's that, Zola? Yeah, well, RP Zola, you know what going for you, RP that,
What? People in Atlanta are starting to believe that we have a real alien living amongst us and walking amongst us.
Yeah, well, RP Zola, you know what going for you, RP that.
I think there's just some kind of costume, bro.
Hey, well, I'm still sitting behind this shit. Hey, man. Y'all licking shit.
So if you're from the Atlanta area, let me know if you've run into the alien from Atlanta, and what are your thoughts? Real, or is that some type of costume? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
That's definitely a costume, man. He's in Atlanta. He need to hop on the stream with Kai, bro.
Nobody but me find this story crazy. This baby right here was technically conceived in 1994, but now born in 2024. Let that sink in. This baby was sitting in a freezer for 30 years. This baby has been in the freezer as long as some of y'all been alive. I'm talking about a full embryo in a cryogenic sleep for 3 decades, y'all. I only heard about this shit on sci-fi movies.
Yep.
But this is real life. These people trying to play God. Bruh, this baby has been frozen since Bill Clinton was the president. This shit is crazy, fool. And the couple was a couple out of Tennessee that did this. This baby got to skip out on a lot of shit that was going on. But it's crazy for them to have this baby now in this era, because I know this baby like, what the fuck? Now, I don't know what's wilder. The fact that this baby survived on ice for 30 plus years, or the fact that the scientists let this happen in the first place. Imagine telling these people, I want my baby to be frozen for 30 years and then I'm gonna have him. Do y'all know how crazy that shit sound? They already unlocking the next level of human cloning at this point. Then what I think about now is, I know this is not the only baby that's frozen. If they did it to this baby, how many other babies is frozen? This might be a newborn baby, but I'm telling you, this junk gonna come out with an old soul. Something nobody has ever seen before.
Tay just made an OnlyFriend. And not only did she just make $1 million in 3 hours, the pictures that Lil Tay is posting is not only concerning, but also scary. As soon as she turned 18, she did exactly what Bad Baby did. And first off, I need to know who the people who are subscribing to this, because they need to be put on a list. But they just got what they deserved after the pictures that they actually got from Lil Tay. And this is where it gets more worse. A lot of people thought that she took these pictures before she turned 18, and that the dudes that are buying this are literally spawn camping, because she has been talking about this for the past few weeks, and some of these people that have been saying that they've been waiting for this make me sick to my stomach. And thank God Lil Tay said that all of this was filmed after she turned 18, because she has been on the internet for so long, and the people that are consuming this new Lil Tay content have probably known who she is for a while now. But this is where it gets even more insaner. I wish I could make $1 million in 3 hours, and literally everybody on the internet is saying that all the pictures that Lil Tay is posting is literally nothing special. Basically posting glorified Instagram pictures. Do you feel bad for Lil Tay? Let me tell you some.
That's just insane, man. This is the society we live in, bro.
Interesting things that I just learned. Tears that are triggered by sadness, happiness, and onions all apparently appear different under a microscope. Bras were called breast bags in medieval times. A skyscraper called walkie-talkie, I guess because it looks like one, was melting cars and damaging buildings due to its ability to focus sunlight because of the concave shape that it was built in. That's just unfortunate, putting all that work in. Oh my goodness. 2 men climbed Mount Everest and then paraglided off the summit, touching down over 19 miles away in only 42 minutes, which allowed them to avoid the potentially deadly 3-day descent. Now that's what I call a shortcut. The Big Zero is a soccer stadium in Brazil where the midfield line is basically aligned with the equator, which causes each team to defend one hemisphere or the other. American Airlines saved $40,000 by eliminating one olive from its first-class salads back in 1987. So that $40,000 was worth a lot more than it is now. The guy that named the movie Cars got a $300,000 bonus and reportedly was paid over $700,000 a year. Sometimes simplicity is just the way to go. Cars. Bulgaria sold 213,000 Bitcoin in 2018, which would now be worth $25 billion and actually would be more than enough to clear their entire national debt.
How is time travel not real? When James Franco and his brother are in a magazine from 1972. Watch this. Old, Bolt magazine from 1972. That is James Franco and his brother. You can't convince me otherwise.
Similarities, I see.
Either they are time travelers or immortal vampires who never unalive, ever. Either way, it's super crazy. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, stay weird.
There's this girl on TikTok who is claiming to have proof that her neighbor is watching her through her window. At first, I didn't see what everybody else was seeing. I didn't know what they were talking about. Turn up the brightness on your phone. Then throw the phone out the window. A full-blown face in the window. People were in the comments and they were like, why haven't you contacted the police about this? Other people in the comments were saying, she did. The police are not following up on it. Like pulling that card like, is this person actively trying to break in? Has this person caused you harm before? That's why they're not doing anything. What would you do in this situation?
Imagine a bakery making you a sandwich that pisses you off so bad, you come back 4 years later to stab somebody. That's exactly what happened in this case. 2 deli workers were stabbed over an angry customer that had a bad sandwich from here 4 years ago. And it wasn't that it tasted bad. The customer had a certain allergy to something. However, he was served that thing anyways and it made him sick. So he was plotting and scheming like the damn Joker for years. And I need to emphasize again, this was 4 years ago. It happened in Paterson, New Jersey. The 2 brothers that owned the bakery were the ones attacked. Their names are Assad and Mohammed. They've owned the bakery for decades. Suspect apparently confronted one of the girls that was working there, and then he used a box cutter to attack the brothers. Also, to be clear, 4 years ago, they tried to make it right with the guy. You know, the order was wrong, they acknowledged that. They even offered to give him, like, free stuff and, like, other things like that. They even offered him more compensation just because, you know, he had an allergic reaction, but he refused. Now, for the sandwich in question, he ordered an egg sandwich years ago, but he got an eggplant sandwich, and apparently he's allergic to that. As for the brothers that got stabbed, they're being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. They're hospitalized right now, so, I mean, I'm glad they're okay. This might be the crash out of the week. I would say crash out of the century, but people crash out crazy every week and they surprise me.
I fell into the Stillwater. Help! Yep, we're talking about Stillwater again today. Here is a flooded bank vault with a bunch of Stillwater and probably more brain-eating amoebas than dollars. Who wants to go into the flooded cellar of doom that probably has Pennywise in it and Stillwater? I don't remember why I saved this. This isn't even Stillwater, that's just a creepy lizard. This Stillwater Ussie. And here is a picture of some Stillwater with its bacteria in it. That is vile. Here's Stillwater under a microscope, in case you were wondering. Do not ever jump in that stuff. You will be, unfortunately, exited from this earth. This looks like my matcha water that I drink every day. But you know what? I'm not gonna let it stop me from loving matcha. That giant pipe in that Stillwater like that, that looks disgusting. Look, it's a pool full of Diet Coke.
No,
it's
it
not
ain't.
Diet Coke. And once again, this water looks like if you fell in it, you would become the Hulk or Shrek. And the worst photo of Stillwater that has ever existed. I don't know where this is, but there is at least 5 billion diseases in that little pool alone. How do you feel?
The Grand Canyon is on fire. In fact, it's been on fire for almost a month. And it's not even like it's small. Over 1,000 firefighters have been struggling to contain 2 fires. One called White Sage, we'll get to that, and the other called Dragon Bravo, which are on and around the North Rim. So far, they've burnt the equivalent of 113,000 football fields, destroyed close to 100 structures, including homes of park officials, a visitor center, a gas station, a water plant, and even the historic Grand Canyon Lodge. And the reason you may or may not have seen people freaking out about this on TikTok is because white sage is a sacred medicinal plant, often burnt by Native American tribes for cleansing and purification. Lord knows we need some of that right now. And authorities currently believe that both fires were started by lightning, believe it or not. Oh, they really don't want us to see August. The white sage fire is currently 83% contained, while Dragon Bravo, on the other hand, is only 4% contained. And recent reports say that it tripled in size in just 3 days. See you in August. Hopefully.
They're saying that one person is dead and 22 people are sick from Legionnaires' disease in Harlem. And if you don't know about Legionnaires' disease, it's not a disease that spreads from person to person. It's a bacteria that spreads like mist. So this bacteria is often found in water, and it usually hides in cooling towers on the top of buildings. The same cooling towers that gives building air conditioning, which means the mist from those air conditionings spreads throughout people. And that's how Legionnaire disease goes from person to person. So basically, you can be walking past one of these places and take a deep breath, and that bacteria can go into your lungs and you're infected. And this infection is sort of like pneumonia. And when some people acquire this bacteria, they don't make it. So if you're having pain in your chest, diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting, fevers or chills, you might need to go see a doctor. Because again, 22 people are sick and one person has already lost their life. And of course, we're talking about New York City. We're talking about Harlem. That means that there's a lot of people walking around through these areas and they don't even know this is happening. Pay attention.
An orangutan was kept in a brothel, dressed up, and forced to live like a human. Pony was taken from the wild as a baby in Borneo after her mother disappeared. Instead of freedom, they trapped her in a place where she was treated like a possession, but not kindly. They kept her in a brothel made to wear clothes and makeup and forced her to be around people all day long. The really sad and disgusting part is this wasn't a secret, this wasn't hidden. Many people in the village knew what was happening. In fact, when a team arrived to rescue her, they faced resistance. Some locals did not want Pony to leave. It took a huge effort from a lot of people to be able to bring her to safety. So sad. Like, after the rescue, Pomi was deeply traumatized. She even forgot how to behave like an orangutan and had to relearn basic skills like eating natural food or climbing trees. Tony's story really shows us why protecting wild animals and their home is so important. This is not the only story like this, as crazy as that is. Without this kind of protection, animals can suffer in ways that people could never even imagine. What do you think should be done to help animals like Pony? Follow for more.
Apparently there
Good thing Pony's
was a
free.
that went on 4chan recently, a couple weeks ago, and he's like, they found in this cave in Antarctica this egg-shaped UFO looking thing, which that's what we talked about a week ago.
Yeah.
And apparently after this came out, it gave this one guy the courage to disclose this stuff that they found in Antarctica, supposedly, of this same egg-shaped UFO that they found. But what's also strange is we talked about the hieroglyphics that a lot of people reported seeing on these UFOs. Same thing happened with this UFO, where there's really weird hieroglyphics all over it. Also, there's like a weird catacomb or like a coffin. It looked like a marble sarcophagus, very similar to the one that we talked about in Russia, where that lady was in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that first picture, some of it looks almost like Hebrew.
Yeah.
That looks just like that letter in Hebrew. That one. Super weird, but apparently they're calling him an alien, but he looked like a tall, Nordic-looking man, very pale skin, long blonde hair, 7-8 feet tall, was in that sarcophagus, woke up, and was conversing with them.
Robots are...
So we got freaking alien eggs in Antarctica. You know, some weird things be going down there, but that's my first time hearing about it.
stealing human jobs faster than anyone predicted, and 8 major industries just proved human workers are becoming completely obsolete. Waymo autonomous taxis are already serving 200,000 paid rides per week with 0 human drivers, while Amazon deployed 750,000 warehouse robots that sort packages faster and more accurately than any human worker. In China, robotic gas station attendants refuel cars without human help, and robot chefs trained on 5 million recipes are cooking restaurant-quality meals with perfect precision every single time. Boston Dynamics robots are now operating professional film cameras and performing backflips while capturing movie scenes, completely replacing human camera operators who spent decades mastering their craft. The most terrifying example is robots repairing high-voltage power lines because utility companies realized machines never get electrocuted, never fall, and never demand overtime pay or health insurance. These aren't prototypes or future concepts. Every single one of these robots is working right now, earning money for companies while human workers get laid off and replaced. From taxi drivers to warehouse workers to professional chefs, robots are proving they can do almost every job better, faster, and cheaper than the humans who used to do them. The job apocalypse isn't coming in 10 years, it's happening today, while most people are still pretending their careers are safe from automations. Which job will be the last one that robots can't steal from humans?
The Ring of... What do you guys think, Seekers, man? That's scary, bro. Robots are just infiltrating the jobs and taking them all away from humans, man. That's crazy, bro. No industry is safe. Guess some, maybe like probably like sports, maybe entertainment. I don't know, but who knows, man? Maybe they probably gonna try to infiltrate those fields as well. Be careful out there, man. If you have a job, like we gotta think of a side hustle or something.
Fire is active, and I think we have reached the point of no return. We have been having earthquake after earthquake after earthquake after earthquake. This one is in the U.S. Back to back to back earthquakes, and these are not little earthquakes either. Ring of Fire having so much activity that a 500-year-old volcano just erupted in Russia. Let's not forget to mention all of the other volcanoes that's waking up across the world too. And I told y'all we was gonna start seeing a lot more activity after them underwater currents did a reverse. This is what caused the day after tomorrow to happen. Go watch this movie. We have been getting hit with non-stop earthquakes all over the world. Now, no, this is the part of the video where I bring up Matthew 24, nation rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and it'd be earthquakes in strange places. Those are the signs of birthing pains. Keep making videos and letting y'all know that we on borrowed time, gang. It's time to get your life right with Jesus, because all of these earthquakes that's happening, volcanoes, the real thing, just signs of the second coming. Now y'all let me know what y'all think about these earthquake swarms that's happening all across the world in the comments. Like and follow for more wisdom and stay tuned. And remember, if you want to grow your social media and get paid a passive revenue, comment down below, hub, and I'm going to send the resources in your DMs.
Here's every celebrity that Trisha Paytas has reincarnated in her womb. The dates and the times of these coincidences are insane, and why she decided to get her tubes removed, therefore never giving birth or reincarnating ever again. So just yesterday, it was announced that Trisha Paytas gave birth to her third child, a boy named Aquaman. And no, I'm not kidding. And when it was announced that Aquaman was born, literally, it was uncanny how the announcement of Ozzy Osbourne's death was announced 1 minute before. You could not make this stuff up. And in all seriousness, RIP to Ozzy Osbourne. But what's even crazier is that, guess who hosted Ozzy Osbourne's farewell concert just a couple weeks before he died? Jason Momoa, who plays Aquaman. And then Ozzy Osbourne gets reincarnated into Aquaman. And this is how Ozzy is living it up now. He's already in his little Aquaman suit. Trisha put on her Aquaman shirt right after giving birth. He's really going off the rails on a crazy train now. And Trisha's response to her most recent reincarnation was liking a comment that said, "You should have taken Trump, not Ozzy." Now this whole Trisha Paytas' womb is the portal to reincarnation conspiracy theories started when Queen Elizabeth died on September 8th, 2022. And then Trisha Paytas' first child, Malibu Barbie, was born on September 14th, 2022.
I don't understand why my womb is carrying all these souls.
Now a lot of people thought Trisha Paytas' second child, Elvis, was actually the reincarnation of the Pope, but the Pope actually died a little bit too early for that to be the case. Trisha Paytas' second daughter, Elvis, is actually the reincarnation of O.J. Simpson, who died just a couple weeks before she was born. But sadly, this conspiracy theory that Trisha Paytas always gives birth right when a very notable public figure dies and reincarnates them is now coming to an end because Trisha said she had to get her tubes removed because she's had 3 C-sections and it wouldn't be safe or optimal for her to give birth again, so her and her doctors decided to remove her tubes after her last birthing of Aquaman. And I love how Trisha has always been in on the joke. She knows the internet just likes to have a little bit of fun.
The whole movie was a metaphor for using artists to bring people to the dark side.
Oh, that's
the whole movie was a metaphor. I watched it again recently, and it clicked in my head, bro. In that one scene, remember what happened when the main vampire was saying, "Just give us Sammy, and then we'll leave you guys alone." Yeah, Sammy. Yeah,
Sammy. You're the one I came for. I want to see my people again. I'm trapped here, but your gifts can bring them to me.
He said to, "I just want Sammy for his talent." Okay. So he wanted his talent. Why? Because the way he was attracting more and more people was through music. Through music, using musical artists because it's a spiritual thing regardless, but you can manipulate where they go.
Oh, that's so fun.
And they use songs and music in worship. They use it everywhere. Yeah. But they also use it in the clubs and parties, right? But if the things you guys are chanting together are, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that energy is coming towards you guys, and if it's violent things, it's like casting a spell.
Insane Lawsuits, Part 1.
Right in front of us.
In 2009, a Canadian woman named Karen Sala sued Keanu Reeves for $150,000 a month in child support and $3 million in spousal support, claiming he had fathered her 4 adult children. She alleged that Reeves had used hypnosis and even shapeshifting to disguise himself as her ex-husband before impregnating her. Reeves denied ever meeting her, and a DNA test confirmed he was not the father. Despite Sala's bizarre claims that the DNA test was tampered with, the judge dismissed the case as baseless and a waste of court resources. Reeves later referred to the ordeal as horrible. Anna Ayala famously sued Wendy's after claiming she found a human finger in her bowl of chili. But investigators soon discovered she planted it herself. It was a severed finger she received from a friend who had lost it in a workplace accident. She was later sentenced to 9 years in prison for attempted grand theft. In the 90s, a student named John Leonard tried to claim a Harrier jet that Pepsi jokingly offered in a commercial for 7 million Pepsi points. He legally submitted enough money to buy the points, but Pepsi refused. Leonard sued, but the court ruled that the ad was clearly a joke and dismissed the case, saying no reasonable person would think a military jet was a real offer.
4 bodies, all found within close proximity of one another, and within a 4-day window. This is weird. It has been quite a chilling week for the North Yorkshire seaside town of Whitby. Personal favourite of mine, actually. Just listen to this. On July 30th, 2 bodies were airlifted to hospital. 1 male, 1 female. That was from point 1. It was believed that the pair had fallen off the cliff, and the police said there was nothing suspicious. The very next day, July 31st, a woman in her 60s was found at the bottom of the cliffs at point 2. Police deemed it to be consistent with falling from a height and then ruled it not to be suspicious. Then on Saturday, August the 2nd, the body of a woman in her 50s was found at point 3. Again, her injuries were consistent with a fall and police deemed it not to be suspicious. That concludes 4 bodies within a 4-day window, all within the same area, very, very close.
Entire world. This map shows the global cancer rates in people under 50. And Australia, New Zealand, I don't know what's going on, but you have way more than the entire world. USA, France, kind of all these main countries are right there with them. This map shows the most popular flight destination for each U.S. state. California's is Nevada. Alaska goes to Washington. Florida goes to Georgia. Georgia goes to Florida. The entire South, for whatever reason, goes to Georgia, I guess for Atlanta. Illinois goes to California. Every state bordering Texas goes to Texas, and Texas goes to California. I mean, this map kind of makes sense. It's pretty much all the states go to wherever there's stuff happening near them. Cool. This map shows the number of dentists per 10,000 people in Europe. Sweden has by far the most, with 17, and Montenegro has only 0.59. There's not even 1 dentist per 10,000 people. That just blew my mind. Wow.
Ice Spice is an industry plant, and here's proof.
We got another one on the roster. Let's go. Is that what Ice Spice was trying to do at the Super Bowl? It's not a try. She did. And you know what? And I don't care what nobody say, because I'm always right at the end of the day when it comes to this stuff. Every time. She's an industry plant. It's common. You came from nowhere. Your little short... No. Girl. No.
Does seem as when
you just came from anywhere. And so dog girl, give me sweat.
Tyler?
Make me hot.
Not Tyler. Wait, come on, that sounds like just a little bitty girl who just they wrote some songs for us. Damn, not Tyler.
Plants. Watch this. What's this? March, February next year, Cold-Blooded Free.
Damn.
Turned all the way out. Watch. One song gave you a Grammy, but you got people like Angie Stone that been around since I was 10 years old being a rapper, never got one. How's that possible? You walk right in and song's still on the fucking radio hot, you got a Grammy. How do you do that?
That's true.
This is Ice Spice before the fame. Do you think she's an industry plant?
Or indeed? I mean, I feel like she just had a popular song that's been viral. It picked up. Nowadays, man, some go viral, bro, especially with the songs. It's so easy. Got the TikTok, SoundCloud, bro. It was the Munch that freaking put her on, but I remember I saw that was everywhere, bro. And Tyler Waters song, I remember that was always coming on the radio, so I don't know. I think Ice Spice is an industry plant. That one might be iffy. I don't think so.
Are we living in the craziest times of our lives right now? Are we living in a matrix? Why do I ask? Because a woman was driving her car with her family when she was recording clouds. Upon looking closely at the clouds, she saw someone
walking on the motherfucking clouds.
right there.
Someone.
What is that? I freeze framed it and blown it up for you. What is that walking on the clouds? Are they 100% correct? We're not supposed to see that? What is that? Like I said, either we're living in a matrix or the craziest times of our lives. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as to what you think that was or is walking on the clouds. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Here's some of the greatest conspiracy theories of all time. Part 8. Almost all of us are familiar with the story that an asteroid caused the extinction of dinosaurs around 66 million years ago. But what if I told you that may not be what happened? This theory states that the beginning of humankind used to live on Mars, which was just like Earth at one point, with water even being discovered there. But as time went on, these early humans polluted and damaged the planet so badly that they needed to escape to survive. The people chose 2 people, one male and one female, to send to another planet to get a fresh start. Those 2 people happened to be Adam's guide to the meteor. After crashing into the Earth, the pod disintegrated, leaving only traces of rock behind. They then repopulated and started the society we have today. But now, history seems to be repeating itself. Ever since humankind walked the Earth, we've polluted the Earth to an irreversible degree. So much so that Elon Musk, founder, CEO, and chief engineer at SpaceX, is trying to send us to Mars as soon as the year 2024. The mission's main goal is said to provide the potential to advance research in our solar system, but it could very well be an attempt to go back and fix our mistake.
Is that why
Rio has turned into a war zone overnight after Brazilian authorities launched one of the largest operations against drug trade the country has ever seen. A staggering 2,500 heavily armed police officers were deployed into the streets of Rio de Janeiro to take on one of Brazil's largest drug gangs, known as the Red Command. And along with armored vehicles, helicopters, and drones, it became the largest operation of its kind in state history. But instead of gang members accepting their arrests, they started fighting back. And the cartels even started using drones of their own to target police officers and drop explosives. Yes, bombs were literally raining down from the sky. Even the local governor said that the city is effectively at war, and then accused the president of refusing to support the operation with military forces. So far, over 60 people have been killed, including 4 policemen. 80 others were arrested, while 91 rifles and nearly 2 tons of drugs were seized. They're calling this the bloodiest crackdown the city has ever seen.
Y'all better watch out, because a new insect has reached the U.S. and I mean not just reached. I mean they are full-on colonies in the U.S. now of these Asian needle ants. These Asian needle ants are going to be out all summer long looking to sting people. And they're actually dangerous. They are venomous. They're not like any ordinary ant. And people in Australia, they are afraid of these ants, but now they're in Louisiana. So if you're in Louisiana, these ants are outside, so you better go inside. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, we're not scared of no ants. We're not scared of no ants. So they can leave burns and permanent scars. They're known for their ferocity, their determination, attacks, and they do not show no fear from humans or of humans. And during the attack, they use their long-toothed mandibles to grip their victim, curl their body, and thrust their sting into their skin multiple times. At least 3 human at least 3 human unalivings have been reported from this ant since 1963.
This feature on your phones, if you zoom in on the moon at night, it will show a clear image of the moon. Oh shit, you can zoom in and get every single detail, right? But it's all fake. Y'all can try it right now. They did a test. They took a fake moon, a white circle out of paper, put it in their house, turned off all the lights, pretended it was the moon, and zoomed in, and it created the moon. It literally created all the details of the moon, fam. It was fake. I don't know exactly what phones it does it with, but I know this one specifically, the Samsung one. It's just a white circle, and then when they zoom in, look at this. See, it's just dark. You zoom in, it gets darker, and then boom. It shows it's the moon.
They have a general assumption of the moon. They have it already generated. So if anything resembles the moon, it'll think it's the moon, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So they're lying to us, bro.
How the hell did the damn dogs turn blue? So now they're saying it's radioactive dogs running around here. I need y'all to see this, because at first this shit ain't even look real to me. Look at this shit. The damn dogs are blue and they running around near that Chernobyl nuclear site. And before y'all say those are filters or that's paint, nah, that's not paint. That's real footage right there. Mind you, locals are saying they started showing up recently, looking like they came straight out of a sci-fi movie. But why is their fur blue? Some people think it's radiation. You know, Chernobyl, the same place that melted down in the 80s. And here's the part that's creeping people out. These dogs didn't look like this before. This is new. Crazy shit. Scientists have been studying Chernobyl dogs for years, and they found real genetic changes. Different DNA from dogs anywhere else on Earth. So these blue coats, all mutation. You might be looking at the first visible signs of what radiation does over generations. And it's not just dogs. There's been reports of other animals in Chernobyl zone with strange mutations, longer limbs, missing pigmentation, changes in their genes. The whole ecosystem adapting to survive with humans left behind. Mind you, this ain't the first video I did on some shit like this. You just had radioactive shrimp. You had the radioactive monkeys. And you had that other thing, right? You remember that other thing, right? Yeah, okay. I'm out.
We got freaking radioactive dogs, man, in the mid 2025, bro. The fact that they, like I said, that their coat is blue shows how, I guess, how their body's trying to adapt to the changes, man. That's scary, bro. I wonder what other freaking mutations going down to that Chernobyl area that we don't know about.
The story of them is actually terrifying. There's this Viking dude, Bothar Bjarkny. In battles, he would go like catatonic in the camp, like he would just like almost in a trance. And every time he did that, a bear would appear in the actual battle, killing the enemy. And then when they said they would wake him up, the bear would vanish. So like he would never fight the actual battles. He would just lay in camp and then like possess the bear supposedly. Would go into these battles and kill people. Skinwalkers and the Selkies.
Oh yeah.
Like from Ireland and Scotland, call them seal people who shed their skins to become human. If you stole their skin, you controlled them. It's always an animal hide skin that these people put on to biblically demons possess animals. Like they went into pigs. Like what did the pig look like running down the hill? I don't imagine it looked like a happy pig. Well, it talks about in the book of Enoch too, like the Watchers, they literally messed with animals and they taught forbidden knowledge basically. So it makes you wonder, it's part of that like a witchcrafty kind of thing, like they taught to become an animal. It's like they're not an actual animal, but everyone perceives them as that animal.
Could be.
What the fuck is going on with Kim K? I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Look at the outline of her lips, her nose, her eyes. This shit look weird as fuck, fool. Just from this style alone, you could tell her and Kanye belong together. They both cuckoo for cocoa birds. Hollywood always got some weird shit going on with them. Who told her to do this weird shit? Y'all, I don't know. She probably got some weird work done to her face or some shit. Cause right here, she look like a skeleton. And everybody know. Everybody in Hollywood been looking a little weird lately. And now this shit just adding to it, fool. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments.
Kid didn't. It definitely looked like she was channeling her inner freaking Yeezy, bro. Because you know Kanye be wearing, you know, the black mask like that covered his face. I know she was at an event or something like that, but maybe she was just trying a new style.
Any work in his group project, so his partner got the ultimate revenge. The girl in the group needed a 50% or better to pass the class and graduate. So she calculated that even if she got 0% on this assignment, that she would still graduate. Since her partner didn't want to fail the class, he would call her up every once in a while to see how she was doing. She kept saying that she was almost done when in reality, she hasn't even started it. The day before the presentation, he called her up to ask if she could share the presentation with him. She then sent him an empty PowerPoint and shut off her phone so he couldn't call her. But the girl reassured him, saying that everything will be taken care of. When she got up to present, she presented to the class that she had a good enough grade to pass the class without even doing this assignment. She then said, since my partner didn't want to do any work, I decided to take the day off. He ended up going to summer school, but didn't pass summer school, so he ended up having to take his senior year over again.
Ash Trevino just popped up a tonsil stone in the middle of her live stream, and Ash's reaction to coughing up this tonsil stone explains everything that you need to know about her. Because I wish that I was the person I was 5 minutes ago before I saw this video. And not only did Ash Trevino just leave her kids to stay with their grandparents for the next month, while Ash moves to Houston, and Ash seems so happy to be away from her kids, where Ash is saying things like, I'm doing me for a month, and that her kids are always taken care of by her grandparents. But this is where it gets even more crazier. Ash was recently in a beef with her own daughter because her daughter has over 2 million followers on TikTok, where Ash seemed very jealous of her own daughter. Now Ash's daughter is calling her out online after Ash has allegedly been on a 3-day bender after moving away from her daughters. But this is where it gets even more worser. Ash has enough money for Louis Vuitton bags and lip filler, but she doesn't take herself to the dentist because she allegedly just coughed up a tonsil stone, and tonsil stones make your breath smell super stinky. Is it gum or a tonsil stone? She coughed it up on her bacon and acted like nothing happened. This is all alleged. You think that Ash needs a reality check?
Yeah, I do.
So you mean to tell me that that thing comes from the same planet as me? No, meet the crown of thorns starfish. First off, they don't have a brain, or heart, or
or central nervous system. They don't even have blood. On top of that, as I'm sure you've noticed, they're also covered top to bottom in spikes. And those spikes are venomous, causing severe pain, swelling, and you could possibly be paralyzed. No thank you. What makes it even worse is the fact that this starfish is basically immortal too. People have tried chopping these things in half, and what happens is both halves regenerate, resulting in 2 highly venomous starfish. They just doubled their problem. But the weirdest thing about them is how they eat. Basically, when they find their prey, they literally spit their stomach out of their mouth at the creature. Their stomach digests the creature outside their body, and then they suck their stomach back up through their mouth. Does that sound like Earth to you? Moral of the story? Aliens do exist. They're just found in the ocean. And as always, follow for more facts.
I think I just put it together. That's why Patrick showed Dumbo on SpongeBob. They just say you don't have a brain, bro. I just now got it, bro. He's taking a characteristic of the starfish, man.
So, did you know KFC's chicken isn't as real as you might think?
No, I don't.
So people are discovering that KFC's fried chicken doesn't behave like natural food. To prove this, they buy a piece of chicken and leave it out at room temperature for 24 hours. After 24 hours, they check to see if it decomposes or changes. Look at this video. They left it out for 24 hours and it looks almost the same. No rotting, no signs of spoilage, nothing like what you'd expect from real food. And this is what we're eating. If you look at the packaging and ingredients list for KFC's chicken, you won't see a lot of transparency about what's really in it. Preservatives and additives used in this chicken are designed to extend shelf life, but they also prevent it from decomposing like natural food. Take a close look at the ingredient list on the packaging. It includes a lot of chemicals and preservatives with long, complicated names. These additives keep the chicken from spoiling, but they also mean that what you're eating isn't just simple fried chicken. The breading and meat are loaded with substances that inhibit mold and bacteria growth, making them almost indestructible by natural processes. So the next time you or your kids crave KFC, think about what you're really consuming.
Chlorine, fluoride, heavy metals, bacteria, and so much more. Why is it so important to the government that the water that we bathe in and drink is contaminated? People, movies, scientists, TV shows have all made claims about the power of water. I bet this scene went right over your head.
I want to know what happened to them.
The water is what was destroying her. A doctor named Masaru Emoto exposed this, that when frozen, you can see the messages and memory in water. You can also change the molecular structure of water with your intentions and emotion. And let's not forget that water can be portals. Everything that you see that they put out, they're not showing it for no reason. Every time in Stranger Things where Eleven wanted to see into different places and travel, she would have to be in water. I mean, just think about it. If water holds memory, and water has been on Earth for millions of thousands of years, imagine how much information water carries. Water is in all humans. It connects all the continents together. Everybody remembers the Egyptian saying, as above, so below.
Thinking about going to have teeth done or anything, just don't have it done. So I've come out to Turkey, to Antalya. I did my research. Seems to be a good company to go to. Having implants done, I'm having the all on 6 treatment, top and bottom.
But soon after getting them done,
they fell out. And now I've got to glue them back in.
things that took a shocking turn.
Whoa.
The teeth now are really starting to give me, well, the implants are really giving me feel right now. I'm on antibiotics now, cocodamol, the Proxin, there, all the way down to there. Solid. So I woke up today in a lot of pain. My face is very swollen, so you're here. And all that. When I take out my dentures, the pain is excruciating. These implants are pulling, and then on my whole face, I just want to pull it off. I feel like banging my head against the brick wall. I'm just not getting any further with any of it. My pain relief is not even touching the sides anymore. My face doesn't look like this.
This is crazy. The before and after pictures are actually insane, man. And she said she went to Turkey for this. Yeah, she need to sue them.
Since I've had my implants done and going backwards and forth to the NHS, to the doctors, my whole face has just completely changed. And that was disgusting. just had my doctor's appointment because it come back that I'm severely anemic. So when I got in there, it said that my bloods were 75 and they should be 115. So with my red and white blood cells, they're both attacking each other. This is what causes me to be so poorly all the time. So my next step now is to have a blood transfusion next week. I can't even put my doctors. I'm getting quite a few of the same comments all the time on my post saying I need to be admitted into hospital. They won't admit me into hospital because there's nothing they can do. They give me antibiotics to fight off this infection. The infection just isn't getting taken away. It's just
Bleed blue.
The blue man. You starting off hot already.
Normal looking photos with disturbing backstories, part 2. This Snapchat was the last photo ever taken of Sydney Loof, a woman who was killed by her Tinder date. Her body was cut into 14 different pieces, and when it was brought back to the morgue, it was in 6 different bags. This man was transferring oxygen tanks for 12 boys and their coach. He didn't have enough oxygen for himself, however, and died after losing consciousness in one of the cave's passageways. This man is Issei Sagawa, an actual cannibal from Japan. This photo was taken by a Japanese magazine after he was released from prison for insanity. The man in this photo, Franklin Floyd, married a woman and had custody over her children while she was in prison for 30 days. The girl in this photo is one of her children, whom Floyd kidnapped to start a new life with. He left the other siblings behind, and after this photo was taken, he went to another state, changed both of their names, and claimed her as his biological daughter. Later, he went on to marry her.
Do you think like a psychopath? Specialists have actually agreed that if you can answer this riddle easily, you might be a psychopath. An explorer and his crew were stranded in the Arctic for several months. When they were finally rescued, the explorer was reunited with his wife, to which he told her all the stories about how their ship crashed and the captain had to feed the remaining crew penguins while they huddled on the ice together in order to survive. A few days later, the explorer's wife became curious and decided to try penguin for herself. Now, despite the explorer's experience, he agreed to eat some with her. However, immediately after, he began to cry and ran out of the room. Shortly later, he unalived himself. But why? Now send this to a friend. Let's see if you're friends with a psychopath.
Kids songs with dark backstories, part 1. Firstly, we've all heard the child song, Ring Around the Rosie, right? Well, there's a popular theory that it was actually based on the bubonic plague. Supposedly, the rosy part of the song refers to the red visible rash people would get with the bubonic plague, and the pocket full of posies refers to people putting flowers in their pocket because they thought it would stop them from getting sick. And where it refers to ashes, ashes, we all fall down, this refers to people who unfortunately passed away. But remember, this is just a theory. Next, I'm sure we've all also heard the kid song, Do Your Ears Hang Low? Well, the first record of this song comes from World War I, and instead of saying ears, they actually said nuts.
Hey man, we know, like I said, watching these clips together, man, how these songs and shows, they be based off some dark things, so you can't put it past you, man. Our classic kid songs are based on the bubonic plague. You're gonna have to look into that one.
Fun facts about the human body, PT.2. If someone is sleeping and you blow on their eyes won't react. But if they're awake, they will flutter a bit. That's how you check if someone is really sleeping. If you drink nothing but purple Powerade for 3 days straight, your poop will turn neon green. Your sense of balance is strongly linked to your eyes, and you may notice it's harder to keep your balance with them closed even if you're standing still. Women are actually programmed to forget the pain of childbirth after a few months or so. If this didn't happen, most women would only end up having one child, which would eventually lower the population.
That makes sense, especially that last fact.
This is the disturbing truth about the Teletubbies. The Teletubbies is a dark nightmare about genetically engineered slave creatures being systematically trained to become part of our society. They are not in control of their own destiny. 3 things control their day-to-day lives. First is the voice, a tiny female voice that tells them when to eat, when to sleep, and when to say goodbye. The robotic voice comes from a speaker in the ground, hinting that something larger lies beneath.
Second is Nunu, a harmless vacuum cleaner robot who wanders after the Teletubbies, cleaning up their messes that they made and yelling at them for bad decisions. Nunu is the watchdog of the Teletubbies. Next is the Pinwheel. When the pinwheel spins, the Teletubbies stop whatever they are doing and run to the top of the hill to perform a ritual. The Teletubbies just follow rules and listen to other beings. Teletubbies is simply a warning about the darkness of the human spirit as it ages. The Teletubbies is about the end of the world.
So they're just some programs.
This is the scary theory about Bob Ross. Up first, we all know who Bob Ross is. He's a very famous painter who is known for his bright attitude and his very calm demeanor. But people think Bob Ross was a serial killer, and every single one of his paintings is where he buried the bodies. People are saying this because this painting by Bob Ross is called Happy Little Accidents. Nothing special, right? But this is where they found 5 female bodies that were half eaten and dead. The painting in this location are almost identical, and this might raise the question, was Bob Ross a serial killer?
What do you think, Seekers? Was he? Was
The
that
most disturbing
coincidence?
phone number in the world, part 2. In 2005, in a quiet luxury neighborhood in California, laid a family of 6. The road they lived on is called Devil's Ladder, and things are about to take a demonic turn. The father is laying down one night at 3:30 in the morning while everybody in the house is sleeping. He gets up, picks up his 9mm pistol, and slowly starts creeping down the hallways. One by one, he shoots each of his children in the head while they're sleeping. He then made his way down to his last 2 victims. The last 2 victims of this heinous crime were his own mother and his wife. After everyone else in the house was dead, he made his way downstairs, picked up the cell phone, and made one last phone call.
911, state your emergency. Sheriff's Department, how can I help you?
I was able to find the original phone number using Spy Dialer, and as you can see on your screen now, it says he's deceased and the number's disconnected. However, when you call this number today, this is what plays. Okay, does anyone else hear footsteps? If so, whose footsteps are these? Make sure to like and follow for more videos tomorrow.
He really went in depth with that one, man. I mean, I could hear the footsteps in the background. It's kind of weird that the number is still, like, you can call it to this day and hear that. It was just a tragic story, man.
A time traveler from 2671 has warned us. Now yes, a time traveler has posted on TikTok several dates which humanity need to look out for. And none of these events were good, so make sure to save this video so we can look back to see if he was right. The first comes on 8th of December 2022. A large meteor, but not extinction level, will hit Earth, bringing with it an alien species and unknown materials. That sounds like it's straight out of the plot of A Quiet Place. Just 12 days later, on the 30th of December, there will be a 9.8 magnitude earthquake which will open a hole in the Mariana Trench. This large earthquake will apparently release the largest species humanity has ever witnessed. And 2023 is not looking much better, because this is the year we apparently find massive species of already known animals, such as a 3-foot spider and an 18-foot bear. And said this to literally anyone you know, because apparently in 2023 we're getting 3-foot long spiders. If that does come true, Mars anyone? Yo, Elon!
That was all
Here's
cap.
the
It
truth
never
behind
happened.
Thomas the Train. In a 1984 episode of Thomas the Tank Engine, there was a big green train engine named Henry pulling a passenger train. He runs into a tunnel and stops at the end, not wanting to go any further. Henry's driver argued with him, but he refuses to get out. He claimed the rain would wreck his brand new green paint. So the workers decided to get revenge on him and built a big brick wall in front of him so he could never get out. They then abandoned him and his body is still there today.
What? Hey, justice for that
Why
man,
is
bro.
nobody talking about this photo? See, in Southeast Asia, there was a giant sinkhole that researchers noticed had its own ecosystem. I mean, inside it had its own body of water, its own clouds, rivers, lakes. It had a self-sustaining atmosphere. Don't mind these, I was just fixing my car. Let me get rid of them for you. Pretty good. So a team of explorers got funded to go and search the sinkhole. They were mainly looking for prehistoric plants so they can use for medicine and further research. But what they found was even crazier. They found never before seen animals that were out of this world. I'm talking crustaceans, reptiles, mammals, all throughout the voyage. Everything seemed to be going smooth until it didn't, because this is where it gets scary. The team had stopped reporting to the research lab. They were supposed to be sending back updates every couple of hours of what they found. They were only supposed to be down there for 7 days, but turned up missing for 2 weeks. That's double time of what they were funded for. When the rescue team was sent to go search and find them, they found clothes and tents that were ripped to shreds. Traces of blood were also found on the ground. When checking the camera equipment, they found all the new species that the explorers had taken pictures of. But the last image on one of the cameras was this photo. But before I continue, you and your third app see this creature in the woods. Your third app says, "Don't worry, I'll protect us." Let me know who it is, and let me know if you believe you're safe or doomed with them on your side. But from the picture, scientists concluded that it is bigger, stronger, and possibly faster than us. And their worry is that there might be more of these, and the sinkhole allowed them to escape and be released into the outside world.
We're gonna have to check up on that sinkhole, man. They need to close that
An
thing
80
down.
million-year-old prehistoric shark was just discovered in Japan. Check out the video.
$80 million years old, and we just now seeing it. That's scary, bro. We didn't discover all of
Friendly reminder,
our
you would
ocean.
not survive a day in the wild. If you ever imagined how you'd survive a lion attack and thought you could hide in a tree, nope, they got that too. We got lion climbing trees, and the crazy thing is, they didn't always do this. Lions normally don't even rock with trees like that. It's not like they can't. They're cats. It comes with a contract. But it's the getting down part that they struggle with. They're not leopards, and bigger lions that fall can end up dislocating something. And these are lions. Going on injury reserve ain't an option. But the funny thing about lions, if they're not good at something, watch them find a way to be great. There's actually a population of tree climbing lions in Queen Elizabeth National Park in Uganda. Apparently, one lion figured they could chill in the trees to get away from insects and the heat, and now they got the whole pride doing it. They even teach the cubs to be part-time arboreal as soon as they're old enough. Well, actually not too old, because the mothers do use climbing to get away from them. Real. Somewhere are leopards swearing appropriation. And like I said, this isn't normal. Seeing lions in a tree is like seeing lions on the beach. You never see it happen. Scientists think the lions figured out that they can use the trees and climbing to keep tabs on their prey without actually giving themselves away. Also, they look so cozy up there. I really think they just caught a vibe and climbed with it. But yeah, even a bigger male can get up there if it means they can steal a leopard's leftovers. Moral of this video, lions, find a way.
That sounds kind of cap. I'm like, what? Your tongue doesn't the touch of your... the root of your mouth. I knew that one was cap. The thing that got to me is just how everybody's like 99.9% the same. So he said if you think about it in the way we all related, man. Why can't we just have world peace
Something
then?
that we have not talked about yet is mermaids. Are they real? Is there any proof of them? Let me tell you. While digging deep on the internet, I found this following video that I'm about to show you. Now it's very busy and loud, so you need to focus to see what I'm trying to show you. As you can see, we could very, very clearly see a hand of a person that's attached at the knuckles, violently fighting to get out of the net that they were caught in. You don't just catch humans in the water. Now look at this hand. This is what scientists think the hands of mermaids look like. And I'm going to show you the hand from the video, and you can see that they're the same. Not to mention, there are a lot of pictures of dried up mermaid skeleton that are unexplained. Now what we technically think mermaids are beautiful women and men who swim around all day and sound magical and just safe, happy creatures. But that's not what people think it is. They're thought to look weird, alien-like. And when they make sounds, they screech, they don't sing. They're scaly all over, not just their tail. And they're just overall harsh, evil creatures. I personally believe they exist because 70% of the sea is undiscovered. So how do we think we know they don't? Tell me what you think.
It's a possibility, very strongly.
Adventurous travels has died in a freak snowstorm in the Swedish wilderness. Storm de Boel was found dead after getting caught in a devastating blizzard. The night before, he sent his grandmother a tragic final message. It's snowing heavily here, but don't worry, I'll survive, you know. His mother believed his tent must have blown away or been destroyed in the storm, leaving him without any shelter in the freezing temperatures. He was able to contact emergency services, but by the time they were able to search for him, it was tragically too late. He was just 22.
Do you know the
Careful out there
craziest
camping.
conspiracy theory about one of Hollywood's most beloved actors, Keanu Reeves, that he's immortal and has lived multiple lives? This conspiracy started when theorists noticed that one of the most prolific Holy Roman emperors of all time, Charlemagne, looks a lot like Keanu Reeves, from the eyes to the nose to the cheekbones. Even though Charlemagne was born in the year 748, the theory goes that he was powerful, rich, and of high enough status that he was asked to join the New World Order or the Illuminati, and given the opportunity to be immortal, so when he would die, he would reincarnate. So here he pops up again in the 1500s in this very famous painting, Portrait of a Man, with the man who has the exact same face as Keanu Reeves. Then in the 1800s, another very famous man, a poet by the name of James Russell Lowell, pops up looking exactly like Keanu Reeves. Then right on schedule in the 1900s, a very famous actor of the time, Paul Mounet, happens to look just like Keanu Reeves. Here's another photo. As we go, the photos get higher quality, and as Keanu is immortal and lives all these lives, he acquires more knowledge and wisdom about how to achieve success over and over again to become all these prolific men. And Keanu doesn't deny it, so before I tell you what he has to say about this, make sure you follow so you finally know the craziest conspiracy theories about each of these celebrities and request who you want to see next.
You've just been around, there's just different generations.
We're
all stardust, baby.
I can see we have a likeness in the eyes, and the nose, and the mustache, and the beard, and the cheekbones, and the forehead.
Look at that guy.
That's the real. Oh.
He didn't deny it.
This is a true horrifying story, part 29. This
That's
is an
interesting.
old famous story known as The Boy and the Jinn. This story took place in Nottingham, England in the early 90s. There is a massive abandoned building that has 120 rooms, many dorms, and very big halls. The building was bought to start an Islamic madrasa, meaning school for boys. They renovated the place and scheduled classes. When the school started, all the students were warned and restricted from accessing the west side of the building. No reasons given, just no one is allowed to go to the west side of the school. One of the students, let's give him a name. His name is Imran. Imran was 13 years old at the time, and he's from Bangladesh. He does not speak a word of English nor Arabic. The only language Imran spoke was Bengali. Imran was a quiet kid. He didn't have any friends. He always walked alone, sleeps alone, and eats alone. One day, Imran strays off to the west side of the building on his own, the side that he was restricted from accessing. He comes back after a while with a Quran in his hand. He goes to the Quran teacher and tells him, "Test me in Arabic." Remember, he does not speak a word in any other language but Bengali. The teacher laughs it off and starts to test him out. Verse after verse, he realizes that this student memorized the whole Quran efficiently, and everyone was extremely shocked about this. On that same night, all the students head to their dorms and go to sleep. During the middle of the night, they banged the principal's room, screaming, "There's a jinn, there's a jinn." The principal found out that while the students were asleep, the walls in their dorm would bang and scratch, and there will be voices coming out the walls saying the name Imran. Then it all added up. They figured out that Imran was possessed by a jinn that was a hafiz of the Quran. So an Islamic exorcism wouldn't really do much. The sheikh would put his hand on Imran and recite the ayat, but the jinn would come back with the following verse to break the exorcism. The ruqya cannot work on a jinn that memorized the Quran. And the jinn himself is challenging the raqi on who knows the Quran better. One of the imams that witnessed this whole situation asked to send Imran back home for 1 month, and that should treat his situation. They send him home. He comes back after 1 month, not knowing any Arabic, not knowing any English, doesn't know anything about the Quran, the same old quiet kid. And no one ever dared going near the west side of the building after what happened to Imran.
So he was possessed by a jinn, sent home for a month, and it went away. We know him, man. He be telling the jinn stories. And there's validity to it. That's from he does all that research for it. Gotta
It's
take
because
that
of the
into
most
account.
athletically disrespectful creatures on Earth. There's no situation where a cat needs to be doing any of that. You see, leopards had a problem. I'm sorry, Zevi, it's too catchy. They live in Africa, but they don't weaponize the power of friendship like lions or hyenas, or a clan of Cujos, or even Baboon Mafia. Being a solo dolo hunter, well, you see how that goes for cheetahs. They literally have anxiety, but leopards have something cheetahs don't. Two things, actually. They're the best climbers of any cat, and pound for pound, they're the strongest, and these are cats we're talking about. They're plenty OP already. Basically, you got Teen Titans Robin in the form of a weaponized panther. Huh, that is a rhino. Yeah, that is a giraffe. And being able to climb means they can dodge the same smoke that gets cheetahs cooked. So not only do leopards have the longest grocery list of a big cat with like 90-something animals, they have the widest range of any too. But they're also crafty enough to live right next to people. They will pull up to your front door in some places. And because leopards can and will murk anything, in some places they realize that pet dogs are easy calories. I can't show you this video, but by the grace of God and plot armor, the dog made it. Also, hot take, the most dangerous predator is a predator with predators. And since leopards get got by lions and tigers too, they're much more likely to be on site with people if they feel threatened. So yeah, leopards are a flex and my second favorite big cat. What's the first? The more you know.
Donald Trump is now saying that the only way out for TikTok is a 50-50 split with America. But we, as the people of TikTok, deserve a say on who is our next leader. So let me show you your options. First up, we got Elon. I mean, for starters, there's no arguing the man's intelligence. I mean, bro might already have a Neuralink, for all we know. In terms of experience, he has multiple highly successful businesses in all types of industries, including social media. But X, still a bit of work in progress. In terms of aura, I mean, if we're gonna rank this off of like someone like Obama's walk, then for Elon, it's a 0 for low taper fade, which could be the most important metric to own TikTok. He does have a political bias, which could influence company policy. And as for wealth, bro's almost half a trillionaire. That's crazy. Okay, fine. Plus 10 aura points for that. Next we ask, should we sell to Zuck? I mean, love him or hate him, he's a smart guy. And still to this day, unlike other companies the size of Meta, he retains 100% decision-making control for the company. He has over 3 billion people using his apps, so TikTok would likely be in safe hands, but that doesn't make up for the lack of aura. In fact, he's notoriously aura-free. -1. His low taper fade is down horrendous. His bias is whoever's in office at the time, and he's the 4th richest person in the entire world. So bro could easily make an offer that ByteDance would be happy with. Next, we have the first person to actually put in an offer to try and buy and save TikTok, Kevin O'Leary. He's founded and sold multiple companies, and he's a highly successful, old-school businessman, which might be what we need. His experience with social media, definitely lacking, but considering the type of businessman he is, he'll probably just put the right people in place to run it. Measuring aura is not a scientific endeavor. It's more, when you see it, you know it. And for Kevin here, I don't feel moved. I think he actually gets a good 10 points for his reverse low taper fade. In terms of bias, he's middle right, so that does seem to be more on economic matters rather than social issues. And as for wealth, actually surprisingly lower than you would expect. And then we've got to talk about Mr. Beast. I mean, starting with, if there's anyone that we're going to call a social media genius, it will be him. As for experience, he is only 26 and he's never been in charge of an actual social media platform. But then on the other hand, he's got almost 500 million followers. If there's anyone that will know what users and creators want on TikTok, it'll be him. His aura, I mean, again, vibe-based thing, doesn't have the Obama walk. And while we still don't see a low taper fade, it's the best of our options, so 1 point. He doesn't seem to have any political bias. And while bro is definitely not like app buying rich like Zuck or Elon, he did say that he's gonna get help from other billionaires. That also makes us less confident that he can put in an offer that's gonna sweep ByteDance off their little feet. So there are your options. So who do you choose to be TikTok's next supreme leader?
If someone is trying to make you decide in a hurry, they are probably giving you a bad deal. Walk away. If someone has a panic attack, start breathing regularly and loudly. The person that is panicking will subconsciously start breathing in rhythm with you. When a group of people laugh, they tend to look at the person they like the most. Nervousness and excitement have the same body reaction, so if you're nervous for a speech, trick yourself into thinking you're actually excited. If you think someone is watching you, fake a yawn, then watch them. Get someone to contribute to an idea and they will more likely accept it. If you whisper to someone, it's more likely they will whisper back even if there's no good reason to lower your voice. If you want to make someone feel uncomfortable, look at their forehead while you're talking to them. If you want somebody to open up to you, ask them a question. If the person only partially answers it, remain silent and keep eye contact. This will pressure the person into talking more. If you want to be more persuasive, reduce the use of the words I think and I believe. Touching someone on their shoulder or on their knee creates a stronger emotional bond with that person. Chew gum if you are still nervous. Our brains assume that if we are eating, then we are not in any immediate danger, lowering our fight or flight response. When you approach a group of people, notice if they turn their feet towards you or away from you. If their feet point away from you, you are probably not welcome. Subtly nodding when people are talking to you indicates that you are genuinely interested in what they are having to say and they're going to like you more.
If you take a moment to look at someone's eye color when meeting them, you'll be giving them the perfect amount of eye contact. If there is a mirror behind where you are ordering, you are less likely to be rude because nobody wants to see themselves actually be rude. If you buy the first pitcher at the bar with your friends, you'd be surprised how far you could go by saying, "I bought the first one." If someone is making jokes at your expense, act like you can't hear them and ask them to repeat it multiple times. By the time they say it a third or fourth time, nobody's laughing. When someone remembers you, they are most likely going to remember the first memory and the last memory of you. So make sure you always leave a good last impression too. After you have learned how to do something new and have done it yourself, the fastest way to retain that information is to teach somebody else. If you have a song stuck in your head and you can't get it out, try and listen to the whole song all the way through while singing it. Your brain is treating the song like an unfinished task in your subconscious. Plan something for every Wednesday that you can look forward to. You'll start to look forward to it on Monday, and by the time Wednesday comes around, you're already halfway through the week and almost to the weekend. If you ask someone to do a small favor for you, their subconscious mind is going to register that they like you because they're doing a favor for you. Showing the palms of your hands while talking to someone subconsciously communicates that you have nothing to hide and that you can be trusted. Whenever you're introducing a new idea to someone and you lead with the words, "This might not be for you, but," it intrigues their interest and makes it feel like it probably is for them. If you need to remember to do something tomorrow, put something in your room out of place. If you don't want to get out of bed, throw your pillow across the room. The next day, you will see this item out of place and it will jog your memory of what you need to accomplish. If you're procrastinating, just stop telling yourself how much work you have to do. This will overwhelm you. Instead, tell yourself you only have to work for 5-10 minutes, and then you're likely going to continue working past those minutes. People who are lying will normally blink more than normal, hide the palms of their hands, glance up to the right, mess with their hair, or use abnormally long sentences. If you're trying to get over a breakup, do not use fictional scenarios. Imagining your person with someone new is only going to make you more angry and sad about something that's not even real. If you want to create a deeper connection with someone you're interested in, ask them these two questions. What do you think we have in common? And what do you like most about me? If you are suffering from racing thoughts, use the 3-3-3 rule. Name 3 things you see, 3 things you hear, and 3 parts of your body. This will help center your mind and bring you back to the present. When someone apologizes for something that you don't feel like was that big of a deal to apologize for, they're probably telling you subconsciously what actually bothers them if it was done to them. If they apologize for interrupting you, they probably really just don't like being interrupted themselves. Follow for more psychology hacks.
All those hacks, man. He was spitting, bro. Hey, seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker. Thank you for seeking the truth with me today. Make sure you guys comment down below. Hit that thumbs up button, man. Also, hit that post notification bell so you'll always get notified when I upload my next videos. You guys are going to catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.